What's going on, everybody? We got a special show for you today. We are actually going to roll through some of the retro NBA teams that have never won an NBA championship, but we think should have won a championship. So we got our special guest, Mr. Freddie Coleman of ESPN, on. You all know the rest of the panel. And so we want to roll to Freddie first. Freddie, thank you, of course, for coming on with us and being a part of our show. Um, by the way, we actually have a new podcast title. It's Unquestionably Raw is the title of our show going forward. So we're going to basically host it about sports, mainly the NBA, music and movies going forward. So each week it'll be an array of different topics. But Freddie, I want to go to you. What are some teams that you think should have won an NBA title and why?
Golden State, 2016. Let's.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we're talking about a team that won 73 games in the regular season and had a 3-1 lead in the series versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they were not able to finish the job. So I'll definitely start with that basketball team, number one. Another team that I don't think gets enough credit for how terrific they were, but never won an NBA championship, were the Lakers in 2004, because nobody thought that that team was going to lose to the Detroit Pistons in the NBA Finals. And I remember being on the air in Albany, New York, and I said, let's end this series after 3 games. There's no need to play a fourth game, because I didn't think Detroit had any chance of beating the Los Angeles Lakers with Kobe, with Shaq, and Karl Malone, and Gary Payton, and Robert Horry on that basketball team. And Detroit won that in 5 games because the Lakers imploded, specifically Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant, and that whole union became combustible too much for the Los Angeles Lakers. So immediately, those were two teams that jumped to mind. I think another team, the Boston Celtics in 1984 and 1985, they were tremendous, but the Lakers had revenge on their mind, and they beat the Celtics in 6 games. So those were 3 teams right off the bat, off the top of my head, when I thought about this, that immediately came to my mind about best teams not winning a championship.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah. Definitely Golden State. I mean, I think all of us here, maybe everybody except for Byron, probably has them on their list. But
Yeah.
he's not a big Golden State fan. But
Not at all.
but
I'm
but
not.
you, I want to roll to you next, man. What are some teams that you think deserve that ring and why?
Um, man, 2011 Bulls. I really think that if they had stayed together for maybe another, well, not stayed together, but if Derrick Rose's health had not so tragically went the way that it went, I think that the core of him, Noah, and Tibbs, and maybe a couple more acquisitions that the front office should have made, I think that could have resulted in them overtaking my Miami one year or another. I think that's one. Another one, the '04 Suns. The Nash, Amari. That
Absolutely.
was an amazing,
Yep.
amazing duo, and no one ever really cites them as probably the standard for how pick and roll is supposed to be run. They were incredible. Since just speaking on current events, the KD and Russ Thunder led team. That I cannot believe that team never won a finals. We are going to look back on that squad and say, how did they not win a championship with two of the best top 5 players in the NBA at one point? And just probably 2 more teams. Ewing's Knicks. They were so tough. They were Rough Riders, man. You had Mason, Starks, Ewing, and you had Pat Riley, who was probably undoubtedly a top 3, top 4 coach at that time, and he still probably would be in today's NBA. They were incredible. And I'm going to go with the '96 Jazz. If they had not run into MJ, if they had not run into the GOAT, then I think that we would be talking about how Carl and Stockton are hands down the greatest duo of all time, but they ran into MJ twice, and we all know that's history now. So I'm gonna go with those teams, and I think that's probably it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think with the Bulls, Derrick Rose definitely that knee injury. I believe it was the Sixers' first round. He had that knee injury.
Yeah,
Uh,
Tibbs kept him in.
Yeah, so they actually, I was actually rooting for Derrick Rose to get to the finals and have a chance for a championship. So yeah, good list there. Byron, what you
Hmm.
got, man?
Well, there's a lot of teams I think that should have won. First of all, I think one that should have won is Boston in 2010. That team, they should have beat LA. I think they should have that ring. I won't go into details. Man knows how I feel. Y'all gonna call me some sort of conspiracy theorist, but Game 7 in LA, some
Oh,
real
boy.
iffy calls down the stretch.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
They let Ron Artest get hot. I mean,
Can't let
Ron
Kobe be
Artest
great.
needs to put that ring in a box and mail it to Reggie Miller because he owes it to him. And my second team that should have got a ring that didn't was, I want to say, the 2000, was it 2005, 2006, 2004, 2005 when Ron Artest ran up in the stands and he cost Reggie Miller that ring.
Mhm.
Those Pacers were going to win that championship that year. You cannot tell me that with a young Ron Artest, a young Jermaine O'Neal. I mean, come on now. He needs to put that ring in a box and send it to Reggie Miller. Another team that I thought should have won, I want to say is it the '06 Pistons when they went 7 with San Antonio?
That's right. Yeah.
Was that '06?
06,
That was
07.
05,
Yeah.
06.
I picked them to win. They should have won that series. It was a nail biter, but I mean, Popovich, and being from Houston,
Here we
Hakeem
go.
is the best center of all time.
Uh-oh.
I'm not gonna say that. If I say this, that would imply that they should have beat my Rockets. But I think that that Orlando team with the young Pino and young Shaq, they were phenomenal. They were outstanding.
Mhm.
They should have gotten a ring together. Absolutely. The Knicks of anywhere between 97 and 98, they were good enough to win. I'm not going to put anybody above the great Michael Jordan, but if Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning weren't fighting over something that happened at a team that none of them played for anymore at that time, maybe didn't and hadn't gotten that fight, maybe, who knows? They would have taken Chicago to the conference finals that year, and maybe it goes 6 or 7 games. And then I gotta agree with Q with the Jazz. Watching those Jazz teams play my Rockets and destroy them. If Michael Jordan doesn't steal that ball and hit that shot in '98 with the injured Scottie Pippen, he had the back problem. You gotta remember he played that game 6. Scottie Pippen was like in and out of that game. I'll put it to you like this: they don't want to go 7 games in Utah because they have the better
Don't forget
record
the
that year.
offensive foul.
What offensive foul?
What you mean? What offensive foul?
Push off?
When he pushed
You mean-
Russell to the floor?
You mean when
don't remember that?
you mean when he
Memory?
you mean when he congratulated him early? When he said, "Hey, bro, this game is over." Pat him on the butt. Good game.
That was a pat. That wasn't a push. He was like, "What's up, man?"
Pat him on the butt. Hey, Russ,
What's up,
good
man?
game, man. It's over. Good game, bro.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. Matt, you go ahead, man. I'm going to round it out.
I'm gonna go. I totally agree with Freddie on the Golden State Warriors this year. I mean, 73 wins, that speaks for itself, and you don't get the ring. You probably don't really have to say any more than that. But I want to go with a Seattle Supersonics team that most people will probably not say. I'm gonna go with the 93-94 Sonic team.
I like that.
That was they had some bad boys on that roster, and if they only and I'll say this, I know Byron and I are both from Houston, and he's a big Rockets fan, but if Seattle gets out of that first round, the Rockets, that was the one team the Rockets could not beat.
That's when they lost to Denver, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they lost to Denver in the first
5
round.
games.
And then in 94, and then in 94, 95, that's basically same Seattle team lost to, I believe it was was it LA in the first round that year? I think it was LA. They lost in another 5-game series. So it would be interesting to see what would happen if they played 7 games in the first round like now. I think Seattle probably pulls that out. But that team right there, they were destined to win the championship that year. They just, and the year before, they get to, I believe they beat the Rockets, and they played, they played Phoenix in the conference final that year and lost. But I think that Seattle team, just loaded. Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, and a young Sean Kemp and Gary Payton at that.
Sam Perkins, Kendall Gill.
Yeah, oh yeah, they were loaded. That team, that was the best team in the NBA that year. Just could not get out of the first round. And then another team I want to touch on, and I hope this is one of your teams, Lance. I got to go with the 06-07 Mavericks.
Nice.
I think that was a fantastic basketball team. They just came up against a team that had their number. Don Nelson was the coach, and Don Nelson, former coach of the Mavericks, coach of the Warriors at this time. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was might have been the last game of the season. Dallas could have eliminated Golden State from the playoffs and didn't play their guys. Golden State beats them.
Yep.
So they match up in the first round that year. But those are the two teams that really stick out with me as teams that really, should have won NBA championships and unfortunately could not get out of the first round.
Yeah. So what teams have we talked about so far? Sorry for my tardiness, kind of.
No, you're good. You just roll through who
Go with who
think,
you got.
Lance.
What's that?
I said go ahead and just roll through what teams you have.
Okay, so first off, 96, 97, Utah Jazz.
Okay.
Malone, number 2 in scoring in the league. I believe he won the MVP that year.
Yeah.
I was looking up their team stats. They had a lot of top 3, top 5 statistics. They were number 2 or number 1 in three-point percentage, even though they didn't shoot as many, but they were still accurate. I believe they were first or second in points in the league. They just ran into the Bulls, so that's one of them. Obviously, elephant in the room, this year's Warriors team.
Right.
You break the Bulls record, you're going to have to go on this list. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
And then my third one I thought about was the 2010-2011 Miami Heat.
Nice. Yeah, Matt brought that up before the show. We were wondering if he's wondering if to include them because they did go on to win a title. But yeah, they definitely one of the most dominant teams as well. I'm surprised. 2 teams that I'm surprised. I've got a couple on my list, but 2 that I'm surprised that no one covered was the 01-02 Sacramento Kings. We all know what bullshit happened in that series against the Lakers.
Wasn't Donahue involved in that too?
I don't know, but I don't recall the ref.
It was one of the games he called, because we called some other ones.
No, he was there. We talk about the dynamic duo with Shaq and Kobe. We forget Donahue. It's a dynamic trio.
Basically, the 3-pointer in Game 4 cost the Kings the 3-1 series lead, and then the refereeing in Game 6, going to the free throw line 27 times in the fourth quarter.
Questionable.
Come on. And you can't tell me that Sacramento, had they gotten to had they basically gotten to the championship, they would have played the Nets. They would have annihilated New Jersey, and they would have had a ring right now. Another team that no one really covered was the Spurs, and I bring them up actually in the sense that them losing in 2012, 2013 to the Miami Heat the way they did after winning 58 games. That if Ray Allen wouldn't have hit that 3-pointer,
or if they had Tim Duncan in there for the rebound,
and Bosh gives them that nice little tip out to Ray Allen.
Yeah.
Right. So they've got to be on there. I've got to put the Cleveland Cavaliers in there with LeBron's earlier years.
Okay.
The 2008-2009 team. I think that LeBron basically did everything he could to will them to a championship. And the last 2 teams that I have. I'm going to throw it out there because Q's a resident 76ers fan, and so am I, so I'm going to throw it out there. He mentioned it before the show, and it had me teetering towards, is it the team that could have been in there or not? But the 0-1 Sixers, because Iverson willed that team. He was everything for that team, defense and offense.
So is that a great team, or
I'm putting him on there just because I'm biased as a Sixers fan, so I don't care what anybody thinks.
I think it was a great team. Let me defend this team for a second. The 0-1 Sixers, the 0-1 Sixers, man, they're looked at as this team that only had Iverson and they got trashed in the finals. But it's kind of revisionist history because if you go back and you actually watch all those games in 0-1, the Sixers were very close after game one. They basically got pummeled in a lot of fourth quarters, and they tried to make comebacks, and it didn't happen. But they weren't just getting, destroyed every single game. They were closer than what it was. They had the sixth man of the year. They had defensive player of the year. And I think if they face a team like Sacramento, or even if they face a team like San Antonio, I think it has a better chance of going 7 than it does against the most unstoppable force in NBA history, which is Shaquille O'Neal. And Iverson was playing so well without the basketball. People forget that Larry Brown made it imperative. It was imperative for him to teach Iverson how to play without the basketball and get his teammates incorporated. It's kind of peddled out there that Iverson was this ball hog, but if you go back and you look at those playoff stats, I think he had his highest assist clip in his entire career on that run. And that was because Larry Brown drilled into him that you cannot get far without your teammates. So I think if you have a Mutombo and you have Snow and all the other guys, great defensive players, I think we could have went 7 with a team like Sacramento or a team like San Antonio. We just happened to run into Shaq and Kobe, man. It's one of those.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. They had a great player and a great coach, and Mutombo. That was it. They overextended themselves and did a great job. But come on, let's not talk about this team being a great team. They had a great run with a great player and a great coach. Let's not start this whole thing with the 76ers and being close and would have been Sacramento. We'll never know. But come on, let's stop this right now. Come on.
Realistically,
this is where
as a Sixers fan,
takes over, guys. This is where nostalgia takes over.
Well, realistically, as a Sixers fan, I'll realistically throw out the 80-81 team. I just wanted to start a little controversy there with the.
Yeah, that 81 team is a lot better in terms of that 76.
It is.
They are 3 games to 1 on Boston and let that get away because the Celtics were that great. But come on, let's not. Wait a minute. Ho. Let's not do that to 6 in 2000. No.
We're out here doing hot takes over here.
I think what everybody also forgets is second round. I believe they play Toronto 7 games. Vince Carter misses a buzzer beater to send Toronto to the conference final. Then Milwaukee, who I believe should have beat Philadelphia that year, they lose in 7. And I think Milwaukee actually had a better team. That's just me. Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think they did too.
Right. The last team that I have, a lot of people probably, I guess, maybe even don't even realize, but the 71-72 Milwaukee Bucks. Good segue there, Matt.
Nice.
Had a young Kareem. Of course, you had Oscar Robertson. And you
Dort,
had Bob Dandridge.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And basically, they would get, basically they ran into the 69-win Lakers team. They lost to LA in 6 games. Even though they outscored them by 14 in the series, they still lost. Go into, basically looking at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's career, most people don't even remember that he did lose there. But those are just some of the teams I wanted to highlight. I mean, you got so many people throughout, in different messages, different teams. Like, they threw out the Orlando team. I think it was 2009 when they made the finals. I just had to shake my head, and I'm like, Dwight Howard is not going to be ever in a category of the greatest team that shouldn't have won a championship. I'm sorry.
I want to get Freddie's opinion on one team because I don't have any knowledge of this team other than the fact that Charles Barkley was on it. Charles Barkley's Suns. A lot of people say that was a great team. What do you think about them?
93.
It was.
Yeah, they were a terrific team because they had Kevin Johnson, they had Dan Marley off the bench, they had Mark West in the middle. They were so good at running the basketball. That was Barkley's first year with the Phoenix Suns, and people knew they were going to be better. I don't think anybody anticipated they wound up having the best record in the NBA that year. And the Bulls that year that won the championship, they had the second best record in the East behind the New York Knicks. Many people thought that Knicks team that year, with John Starks and Patrick Ewing and Charles Oakley, they had home court advantage in the Eastern Conference Finals, but the Bulls were so terrific, being down 2-0 and then winning 4 straight against that Knicks basketball team. But that Phoenix Suns team, they get lost because so many people remember the shot that Jim Paxson hit or what Michael Jordan, those guys were able to do. In that series, they won 3 games on the road, Game 1, Game 2, and Game 6. I think that's why Phoenix does not get enough credit for having a great season, having a terrific team. When you're in the galaxy of Michael Jordan, you can do great things, but you better beat him in the series. If you come at the King, you best not miss. And the Phoenix Suns came at the King, and they couldn't take him down. But that's a great point about that Phoenix team. They don't get enough credit because of what the Bulls were able to do, winning 3 of those games on the road in that NBA Finals.
And another good player they had on that team, a rookie at that time, he doesn't get a lot of credit because of the drugs, Richard Dumas.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was killing Scotty in that.
Great.
He was
great.
Every time I think of Richard Dumas, I think of the future unlived. A guy like him, Roy Tarpley, the Dallas Mavericks, guys who had great talents, but they were not able to keep their demons out of their way. But Richard Dumas, I thought the guys who played against him, they said if he could have ever kept the devil away from him, they said he'd have been an all-time talent in the NBA.
Oh, he was fantastic. He had so much talent. He just, it's a shame.
And they had Danny Ainge too, and he was, he was very aggressive that series too. You know, that was a great series. Of their first three-peat, that was probably like the best one out of all of them because
I agree.
You didn't know Barkley, young Barkley, MVP Barkley. That was a great series. Fred, I got a question for you because Pete brought up the Milwaukee Bucks of old with Kareem and Oscar. Now, the last time we did this show, we had a discussion about Oscar, and we kind of said that we don't like his comments, towards the Michael Jordans, towards the Kobe Bryants, the Penny Hardaways, like for him to publicly say, "Oh, I'm better than Michael. I would do this, I would do that," because we didn't really see his career. Well, we didn't see it. We know the stats, and us being kind of like nerdy statisticians, we can go back and see that. Where do you rank him with the Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants, the Dwayne Wades, even the Clyde Drexlers? Where do you put him?
Well, since I'm the old man of the seat of this whole group right now, I can speak on that a little bit when it comes to Oscar Robertson. And I had a chance to see him towards the end of his prime as a young kid, and I didn't like the comments either, what he had to say, and here's why. I think when he was getting his shine on and doing his thing and averaging a triple-double throughout his season in the NBA, he would not have wanted anybody along the lines of George Mikan or Bob Pettit putting shade on his career. So I don't think he should have done the same thing to anybody else, whether it's Michael Jordan, LeBron James, or Steph Curry. That being said, there's certain guys that have been great in any era. That's why they're the greats of the game. Oscar Robertson would have the ability that if you had to play slug-it-out basketball, he was 6'5", he was built like an outside linebacker. He'd be able to back guys down. But if you get in the up-and-down game the way the NBA is now, he'd be able to control the game with his passing ability, his ability to make shots, and he was an underrated defender. I just think certain guys like that should realize the NBA is great because we stand on the shoulders of Oscar Robertson. We stand on the shoulders of Sweetwater Clifton, George Mikan, Bill Sharman, Bob Cousy, guys like that. And for them not to acknowledge how great the NBA is now because they're afraid of being forgotten, I think that's just very short-sighted by guys like Oscar Robertson.
Do you put him on the same level as a Pistol Pete Maravich skill-wise?
Skill-wise, I mean, Pistol Pete was a magician with the basketball, and I think because he was more Harlem Globetrotter-esque, I think a lot of people forget how skilled he was with the basketball. But let me tell you this, Oscar Robertson, the way he can handle and shoot and rebound, he was no slouch in the ring when it came to a skill level in the NBA. His skills would have been able to transfer no matter if he played in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s.
Wow. I have one quick point. Since we're just to bring it back to the teams real quick. I I'm not a Celtics fan, so I don't have the knowledge of the makeup of the team at the time. But if someone can educate me, a team that would have been but wasn't because of a tragic event, the Len Bias draft.
Right. Yeah.
Does anyone think that team could have won a championship?
No, they would have won 2 or 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Really? I mean, Len Bias, people were touting him as being like on that next like Jordan type of thing, and I think because I think Bird was still on the team.
Right.
Oh yeah, Bird was still there.
I think that could have extended Bird's career because that would have taken a lot of load off his shoulders as being that guy, and I think that Len Bias, he would have transcended basketball, and people would be like, I think Len Bias, just looking at his Maryland tape, it's more impressive than Jordan's NC tape, and it's like oh my goodness, imagine if he was in the system with Bird and all those guys. So I think that, because I have a podcast and I do it with a Celtics fan, he's always like, man, we had 5 championships, and then he just croaked on us, man. And rest in peace to him, but dude, I really think that minimum 3 championships with Len Bias.
What do we think about the Pistons that lost to the Spurs?
Oh, I said them. I said that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's no shame in losing to Popovich.
I agree.
Now, a team that I don't know that many have heard of, but I think they were underrated for the time and had a short run, the 87-88 Dallas Mavericks. When you look at Mark Aguirre, Sam Perkins, Detlef Schrempf, Rolando
Was
Blackman,
Ronaldo
Derek Harper.
Rolando. Yeah.
Yeah.
Derek Harper.
Yeah, Derek Harper, yeah.
Defensive guard.
If they would have stayed together and the West was, and it wasn't, that late 80s push where the West was so competitive,
Then
they would
Mark
have really had a shot.
Then Mark goes to the Pistons and look what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, when you think about that time, the Dallas Mavericks, I mean, think how loaded the West was at that time, where Utah was coming up, Portland was still doing their thing. You got the Denver Nuggets with Fat Lever and Alex English and Michael Adams coming off the bench. And as great as those teams were, nobody knows about it because the Lakers were so dominant when you had James Worthy and Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. One of the best things I've ever heard, somebody said, sometimes you're just born at the wrong time. And that's what a lot of those guys had to deal with. I mean, look at the teams in the Eastern Conference when the Celtics were doing that in the 80s. You have Bernard King with the New York Knicks. You also had the Milwaukee Bucks with Sidney Moncrief and those guys. You had the Pistons. They were really more of a Phoenix-style team before they changed with Isaiah Thomas. And you also had Adrian Dantley and those guys. But no one was getting past Bird and McHale and Parrish and the Boston Celtics. Those two teams, the Lakers and the Celtics in the 80s, ruled everything, and we forget about great players that played on great teams but couldn't get past those teams and get to the NBA Finals. I mean, the Rockets got the 2 NBA Finals during that time with Ralph Sampson, Hakeem Olajuwon, and the Celtics beat them both times, early in 81 before Sampson and Olajuwon got there, and back in 86. Olajuwon's probably thinking, well, thank God Michael Jordan retired. I might not have any ring. No thanks to that guy.
Hold on.
No, let's get into that.
Have I said too much? Have I gone too far?
Remember this. Remember the Texas Triangle now. You got to remember the Bulls did not match up with they didn't match up well with the Rockets in the 90s. The Rockets always beat the Bulls. Go back and look at it because of one person, Vernon Maxwell. He had MJ's number. So I don't know. Like I argued with Matt all the time because his parents were from Illinois. Of course, he was born in Houston like me, and it's like he's like, oh, if Mike wouldn't have retired, then this wouldn't have happened. If Bernard King repairs ACL, you know what I mean? Like we can go on with hypotheticals for days.
You know, I completely I agree with you because I never played the what if game because people said who to match with Michael Jordan. It'd have been a lot easier for Drexler not to level him off but bother him. But who in the Bulls would have been able to deal with Hakeem Olajuwon, who I still does not, I think does not get enough credit.
Will Purdue would have, he would have totally.
Yeah, right.
Look at the what if with
Shaq back then, dude.
With Shaq and Penny, because if Shaq doesn't leave Orlando, there's no Shaq and Kobe.
Yep.
It's
Absolutely.
The Shaq and Penny.
Right.
Absolutely.
If Shaq stays in Orlando and Jordan retires, they got the Eastern Conference. They got it.
There's so many so many like scenarios that you could play out. Everyone likes to do the what if Hakeem went up against Jordan, who would have won? But really, the only what if that I think is really tangible is the what if Shaq and Kobe could get along? Like they're probably the what if team of the 2000s, and they won 3 straight. And think about this: people say. I'm not gonna go as far as some people say, hey, man, they could have won 7 rings, but dude, I think they could have got 5, man, because
they had one more in them.
Because it was all about their conditioning. Kobe was so obsessed with the game, man. He just wanted Shaq to condition himself to get in game shape. Instead, Shaq could come into practice with Big Macs and all that stuff, and Kobe would get all mad at him, reasonably so. And Shaq said, "No, do you see how big I am? I can coast." But imagine if Shaq took it upon himself to get back in that Orlando shape, because people do not remember how much of a gazelle Shaq was in Orlando.
He actually could break sometimes.
Absolutely.
Well,
Go ahead, Byron. No, I was going to say that 03-04 team Freddie mentioned is one of the better teams. I think a lot of people don't remember when LA played Minnesota that year. Karl Malone did an outstanding job on KG, got injured in that series.
Yep.
So now he plays Detroit. He really had nothing to go against Rasheed Wallace. I think that had a massive effect on that team, especially defensively.
That's a great point, because Rasheed was a stretch 4 and Malone had to go out and get him, and he was such an underrated passer for that Pistons offense, where now Ben Wallace did not have to do everything. Because Rasheed Wallace, if he wanted to take 20 shots, he could have, but he was not going to do that. That would upset the fabric of that basketball team. The Lakers expended so much energy that a lot of people don't talk about, because Minnesota had a better regular season record. They had home court advantage because they were the best team in the West. And the Lakers were looking at them saying, we don't care who you are. We're going to go in there and beat you. And they did. So they probably got to Detroit probably thinking, we already won the championship. We beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. But Detroit played such a classic, well-coached series. They believed in each other. The Lakers imploded. It was a perfect storm in their favor.
So what about
Bucks? I knew it was a wrap.
the Suns? Amari or Nash? I mean,
Yeah.
they could have beat Cleveland. I think it was 06-07, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
That was also 6 or 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd have been hard for Cleveland to beat that Suns team, in my opinion. It would have been hard.
Was that the same suspension game where they got off the bench?
Yep.
Yeah.
San Antonio, same one.
Yep. I think they could have won the chip.
Yeah.
That was a very good Phoenix team.
Wasn't it, though?
Anybody have any other,
Yeah,
any
they
other
kicked
sleeper
the
teams?
shit out of the Mavs. Goodness.
Any other sleeper teams?
Any more sleeper teams? Well, I will say this. If they cannot get one within the next 2 years, I think we'll be talking about the Clippers in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Clippers.
I don't even give them. I don't give them any great. They're not great to me.
Nah, they're not great. I'm gonna say the late
They're
Trailblazers with Clyde and all of them. That's the team that I remember. They not to cut you. I'm sorry, Q. They went against the Pistons in what was it? 90.
Yeah.
They
And then
played-
the
they
Bulls
played-
right after that.
No, 89. 89? 90. They played the Pistons.
Yeah, they played Detroit in one of those 2 championship rounds.
Right.
So-
that was not. Yeah, they did.
So
That was-
I guess to go back on the Clippers thing, it's like it's easy that we poo-poo them, right? It's just because in the biggest of moments, what do they? I mean, they always come up short, even when they're up 3-1. It's just hard to give them a great status, like stature, when they do these things.
I don't think it matters.
Dish them off.
Freddie made a good point.
I mean, well,
with the 80,
go ahead.
with the 80s with the Lakers and the Celtics, we might just be seeing that again before our eyes with Golden State and Cleveland.
That's a great
They're
point.
just going to dominate their respective conferences. Who else is going to beat these guys?
Right.
And they don't need it. Like Cleveland and Golden State, I could see Golden State getting second in the West this year, Spurs getting the number 1. It doesn't matter, though. Golden State's going to come out of the West, barring injury. Same thing with Cleveland. Give Cleveland a 2 or 3 seed. It doesn't matter. They'll beat you in your gym.
Yep.
And
Due to the I'm sorry.
oh, go ahead, Hugh. No, you go. Go.
No, I was saying just like due to the fact that Golden State just added a weapon of mass destruction known as Kevin Durant. They have the West on lock for I believe at minimum another year because
Hey, we already did this penciling in stuff and how to go for Golden State last year. I can't pencil anything in anymore.
Well, they do have the West on lock. I ain't say that they have the championship on lock. I don't think anyone's going to beat them in the West unless the Spurs can find more youth and unless like a team like OKC just goes on a miracle run. But the way that I look at those two teams, though, it's we're back in the era of heavyweights on the grand stage every single year, and I kind of like that. A lot of people complain about how it's bad for the NBA. I think it's great for the NBA when people like KD and Steph team up because that makes beating them so much sweeter, and that makes defeating them a coaching masterpiece. And that separates the great coaches and the great players from those who might not be great, you know? And it's like, think about this, man. Like we talked about those Pistons who beat those Lakers. Larry Brown put together a masterpiece of a coaching game plan.
Yep.
And for him to beat that Lakers team with the most dominant force in NBA history, known as Shaq, and one of the top 5, top 10, top 15, whatever you want to call it, players, and Kobe Bryant, and probably a top 10 player, and Carl, like, come on now. That makes the NBA better when you have the underdogs going up against those guys. So when OKC plays Golden State, it's going to be an event. Like, oh, let's see if Russ can get his revenge. When Cleveland plays OKC, it's going to be, let's see if LeBron James can beat the Golden State Warriors, because that'll solidify LeBron in so many people's minds as if he can beat that team, then he is hands down top 3 to people, top 2 to people. And I think it's great for the NBA.
And it's going to take a defensive-minded coach like a Brown or like a Popovich, because what people fail to realize is that same year they had that super. Didn't they play? They play San Antonio in 04, in 03, 04. The Lakers.
The next year.
Is that when Tim Duncan hit the shot? And then
I believe so.
24.
Huh?
Second round, I believe.
Exactly, and Popovich almost did it, and then because remember Tim Duncan hit the 3 falling down, and it's gonna take a defensive minded coach. I don't think that Golden State is gonna win next year. I think it's gonna be the same thing that happened to LA in 04. I think they'll probably come out the West. They're not gonna win it, and I think that Cleveland
count on an injury.
No, I just don't think they're. I don't think they're gonna get it. Now, I'm not talking about no. I think
what's going to happen to Miami.
This video will be evident this time next year. Y'all going to say he's right. This video is all the evidence, right? So this is going to be on YouTube recorded. I do not think they will win. It's going to take some time. They're not going to do it. And just the way Durant is playing in the Olympics right now, I'm like, these are the decisions you're making. If I'm Draymond and Clay, I'm looking at him like, you better not bring that to the Bay Area. You better leave that in Rio.
I think Durant's going to be fine.
And look,
he's going to be just fine.
It's the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell that to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, did you see what Michael Jordan was doing in '92?
KD was now Michael Jordan.
Charles Barkley.
You got basically Durant coming in. Durant's already got, he's warmed up. He's ready for training camp. I mean, come on. He's a lethal assassin. He's not going to have any trouble.
He doesn't perform well against LeBron James, though. He does not.
But here's what
He also has Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green to help him. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, and let me break this down just real quick. This finals, I'm not going to make excuses. I'm going to tell you the facts. We all know Stephen Curry was not 100%. Still, this was.
I thought we weren't making excuses. You just made.
No. That's just a fact. But at the end of the day, that was a game 7 on their floor, and that's no excuse. But exactly. Stephen Curry was not 100%. So if you give me 100% Steph Curry, and the difference between this Golden State team adding KD and that Miami team adding a LeBron James is their games actually mesh. Harrison Barnes, I'm not a big Harrison Barnes fan, but his skill set in theory complements Golden State. KD is Harrison Barnes on steroids. You know what I'm saying? He does way more than he ever could, but it's probably the same skill set. Hit the mid-range, can hit the 3, can handle the ball a little bit. But the thing is, when people try to say that this team won't mesh, you have to understand that they're adding a guy who can do what Harrison Barnes does on a whole nother level. And KD is an unselfish player. The difference is that Steph is going to look to get him involved all the time. Russell's decision making has always been questioned. Steph's has only come into question this last finals when he was not 100%. I believe in trends. I believe in data.
Good. That's actually a good segue, Q, because we got Freddie on. Freddie, I want to get your opinion. Russell Westbrook re-signs, basically 3 years back to OKC. What are your thoughts on that? And what do you see kind of for OKC going forward?
Well, he was not going to find a better situation anywhere else because they appeal to his vanity and ego, and that's what I would have done and say, hey, that guy basically put it out there he could not win with you. We're going to put a team around you where you don't have to worry about can you be the alpha dog, you're stepping on the toes of Kevin Durant and how that's going to work. Now you have your basketball team. You have your team. We're going to make sure there are pieces around you to make sure that's going to work. Now, if you're Russell Westbrook, I want to see the maturity I saw at one point in the San Antonio Spurs series where he said, man, I took 30 shots, Kevin took 18. That can't happen. We know this is now your basketball team, but any great player who's going to take that next step, go to that next level, you have to trust your teammates. Magic did it with Kareem. Michael did it with the Chicago Bulls. We saw before they imploded Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant. If you don't have that trust in your teammates and they know it, then they're not going to trust you and want to go to war for you. That is something I can't wait to see how Russell Westbrook is going to manage it because Kevin Durant basically told everybody, I don't want to do this. I want Draymond Green. I want Steph Curry to do this, and I'm fine with it. And I'm not going to punish him for that because being a leader, being a face of a franchise, both of those things, that's not for everybody. And a lot of guys don't want to do that. It may be too hard for them. But right. Russell Westbrook has always wanted something like this. And if he's able to make this work, can you imagine how much of his brand, how much of his rep is going to increase, not just with that organization, but with other guys around the NBA?
And Freddie, also, I guess a follow-up question. We've seen Adams, his performance in the playoffs, Rose. What do you think about him? What do you think what he'll do this year?
I think you look at Adams and Kantner, and now they add Sabonis, the young man of Gonzaga. That's three really skilled players in the front line that will go get rebounds. They'll be great screeners. They're unselfish in sharing the basketball. They're really long on the defensive end. I think Adams really started to understand exactly how much of a great player, almost to that level that he can be, because he's something that the NBA doesn't see now. A big guy who can move, who can step out on screens, who can step out on defense. And his offensive game is only going to increase.
Yes.
I think by having that inside and being that kind of barrier to other teams, Steven Adams may have only scratched the surface how effective he's going to be for Oklahoma City.
Underrated point, I think, also Oladipo on the defensive
end.
end.
Absolutely.
Being able to get in transition. Think about the nightmare that teams are going to have, with Russ guarding you, and Oladipo, and just being able to get in transition, run the floor. Alex Abrinas, a lot of people don't know about, sharpshooter over in Spain.
Yeah, he's killing it.
He's coming over. Very experienced.
Yeah, and no Deion Waiters to get in the way of everybody either.
Exactly.
That's the Heat's future.
I'm just glad he didn't end up in Philly. So.
Yeah, Oklahoma City might have the most athletic backcourt in the league right now.
Yeah, that's very good.
Athletic, they can really get out and run.
I want to see Oladipo's maturity process, and I think Russ will be the one to expedite that because Russ, when he gets into his triple-double mode, Oladipo's going to be the one probably to get a lot of those passes because he all he has to do is cut, man. He's going to find him. Russ's biggest issue has always just been right here, man. It's been the mental. And I think that the Spurs series, like Freddie said, that showed that he has it in him. He just has to commit himself to consistently be a cerebral point guard in the moments that matter the most. And, being an AAU guy or being a person who just grew up, balling with cats who were fast and, could get to the basket and do all the whoopie-whoop, they think that I'm so fast that I don't have to do anything else. I can just take you to the basket every time. And I know Russell has that mentality in him. He wants to be that Mamba mentality type of guy where I'm the guy, I can do whatever I need and I want because I'm bigger and I'm faster than everyone at my position. And while that is true, sometimes you have to pull the ball down, man, and just pass it to the open guy. And that's always going to be the barometer for how I judge if Russell Westbrook is playing an all-around game or if he's just being selfish for the sense of I got a triple-double.
Or those pull-up threes. Those hurt
Yeah.
my eyes, man. Those
The
are
missed layups. The missed layups. He's not always a good finisher when he go. He can get to the rack so easily, but he missed
It's too much sometimes.
Yeah, he's not always the best finisher.
Right.
Freddie, my question is, who is the leader now? Who's the floor general for the Warriors? When you have you got Clay, you got Curry, you got Durant now.
It's still Steph Curry to me because Kevin Durant knows that this is still his basketball team. He's a two-time MVP. I mean, Draymond Green is the leader in terms of how he's demonstrative, but they still take their cues from Steph Curry, and that's why Kevin Durant decided to go there because he knows he has other guys that can handle that. And I'm a Carmelo Anthony fan. I think he's probably grown as much as a leader this summer than at any given time in his NBA career, and it has nothing to do with basketball on the court, but we've seen the leadership he's brought to the Olympic team, and I'm hoping that carries over to the New York Knicks. Kevin Durant has basically said, you know what, that whole leadership thing, you lead by example, and I'm going to lead by example, but if guys want to be out in front, I'm willing to let them do that. But I don't think he's just going to go in the background either because Golden State's like, hey, we want you here. You're part of our nucleus. But we'll take care of this. You handle your business, and it's going to be fine. Either way, I can't wait to see how that's going to work because they're unselfish. They get open shots. And if you have a team that plays like that, that is a very hard guard in the fourth quarter because you'll know if Steph's getting the ball, or Clay's getting the ball, or Kevin Durant's getting the ball. But either way, it's going to be a pain in the you-know-what for a defense trying to defend that.
My question that I have
Nightmare.
is a true or false for you, Freddie. True or false? The Utah Jazz, on paper, have the most formidable team to stop this Golden State squad.
I'll say false with a caveat because I still believe. Oh boy, I lost the signal. Oh no.
You're good, Freddie.
We hear him.
We still hear you.
you.
Oh,
Or not.
He'll
well,
pop back up.
the Gremlins.
Gremlins.
Hey, they even come after ESPN. The Gremlins don't
Yeah.
mess around. I don't care, dude.
Well,
He'll
guys, I
get
was
back
actually
on.
after Q goes, I was actually going to segue because I like where Freddie mentioned Melo and his leadership, especially in Rio.
Hey, ask him because
Yeah.
we got it because I know he did an article right after the trade. He wrote an article. Gosh, I wish I could link it to you. I'd have to look it up, but about his thoughts on that trade.
Yeah.
And where he thinks it's going to go for the Knicks next year.
Yeah, because the Knicks actually they open up on October 25th with the TNT.
Ask him about D Rose's super team comment.
Gosh.
We should get him back in here momentarily.
Yeah,
Chicago's child.
But yeah, the Cavs opening night. The Cavs play the Knicks, and the Warriors. It's a doubleheader, so the
They play
Warriors
San
go against
Antonio.
San Antonio. Then the
I'm just
Christmas
excited.
Day, Christmas Day games. They just don't make any sense. They've got Boston, New York. I get that. I
LA.
get Golden
Come
State.
on, man.
Why is Boston the Christmas team?
I'd rather see them than to see the Lakers, man. Lakers
Yeah, but
normally like
I get Golden State and Cleveland.
You know what?
Then-
If they really wanted to have a
Chicago.
good game, then they should have did Philly and LA. That would have been a fun young
That's
game.
more interesting to me just because of the youth.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
But
They're giving
then
us-
you pair up. You pair up Chicago
Right.
and the Spurs instead of putting Chicago against Minnesota for the Tibbs relationship.
Didn't Chicago
and OKC
play?
against the Spurs?
Did Chicago play the Spurs last Christmas? Who did Chicago play?
No, they
I
played
thought-
OKC.
Yeah.
They played OKC
They
last
played
Christmas.
OKC. There we go. Okay.
I want to see, Atlanta and Houston.
Oh,
I don't.
Hey,
Gonzo, we got Gonzo.
what's up, Gonzo?
what up, Gons?
Not about an hour late.
Freddie lost his connection, and Gonzo jumped in. We got Gonzo.
You know, no. I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't pay attention to the time. I thought that it started at 7 because it's been starting at 7 like the past 3-4 weeks.
Oh yeah.
He did start
That's
at
all right.
7.
Hey, that's all right. Hey,
Warriors fans.
real quick while we got you, did you catch any of the show by chance?
No, I didn't. I just logged on. Like I've been home for like 2 hours,
Oh,
but I'm thinking
all
it's starting to.
Hey, well, I wanted for you to touch on a couple of teams that you thought, might, have won a championship but didn't. We'll kind of roll back to that.
The 2015 Sixers.
You got anybody? I mean, obviously we touched on the Warriors, and you got any teams that you think might have been kind of under the radar that not many people would know about?
You talking about what, last year or just in history?
Just in
NBA
general,
history?
in NBA history,
Oh,
any teams
well,
that haven't won a ring that should have.
The 2000 Sacramento Kings that played against the Lakers.
Yeah.
Won 7 games. They should have won a championship. I think that honestly, if I'm not mistaken, I think the 76ers of 2001 or 2.
2001.
Thank you.
Not them. No, not that team though. I was gonna say the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh. Matt threw that out there though. That they should beat the Sixers.
I didn't throw it out there. I didn't throw it out that they should have won the championship.
No.
I
But you
think
threw
were
out
better
that
than
they beat the Sixers, so that means they would have been in the finals.
Y'all don't stop.
They should have. They could.
They should have
I
beat
think
the
that
Sixers.
was
They
a
had more talent.
Even Q said that
now,
that was a better team.
You all know I have the mute button, and I am a Sixers fan, so we got to keep the blasphemy away.
But see, Pete, you got to look at it.
Just as Will Smith left.
You got to look at it from this perspective though. Like the Sixers had who? Allen Iverson, maybe.
That's all
Aaron
we
McKee.
need.
Who the Bucks had? Ray Allen, Sam Cassell,
Who's
Glenn
that?
Baker, Glenn Robinson,
Tim Thomas.
Tim Thomas. They had a nice
Washed.
starting. They had a nice lineup. They had some decent bench players.
Michael Red off the bench.
But the thing is though is who they didn't have? Allen Iverson, and that's why they lost, because they aren't better than the Sixers. That's why.
Yes.
I think that honestly, I think they would have been a better matchup for the Lakers.
You know what's another team that was crazy? The Ray Allen, Rashard Lewis Supersonics.
Oh, 06, 07, or 04, was it 04 or 05? 04 or 05?
That should have been the OG Splash Bros. And they kind of were, but they were underrated because they were small market.
Yeah,
what is it, 05?
I think 04 or 05. Same year that the Suns.
Because, what year did Ray get traded? Ray got traded 07 draft night, right?
Yeah.
Hey, what about the 2002-2003 Mavericks, man? Nick Van Exel, Dirk, Nash.
Yeah. Ray Exel was that man.
Hey, Dirk goes down in the Western Conference Finals, dude, against the Spurs. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
We want to play hypothetics. There we go.
No, that was a good team with that young Nick Van Exel. Well, that Nick Van Exel of his prime. That was a good year for playoffs. Because if you remember that that was the year Weber went down with the knee injury. Like I was, that was really exciting.
Somebody threw out the Carmelo and Allen Iverson Denver Nuggets.
They were okay.
I wouldn't put them upper echelon because I think they were better with Chauncey Billups than they were.
I remember AI scored like 61 on the Spurs, right?
He scored how many?
Didn't he score like 60 on the Spurs or something? Or was it the
Iverson
Lakers?
scored 60, I think.
That guy was like, if that boy wasn't so ghetto, Lord have mercy.
Somebody else threw out in the chat. I'm just going through the chat real quick. We got Orlando Till, we got Alex Campbell, Los X23 in the chat. Julian Lomenzo's in the chat. They got the Nets of the early 2000s. I think they had the chance to get to the finals. They were just overpowered. I
mean, Kenyon, Jefferson, Kidd.
I don't know.
You got to be pretty good to go twice in a row. Like, let's give them the credit. They went twice in a row.
Yeah, but this is also the Eastern Conference.
Weak, man. The Eastern Conference was very weak. That's why.
Well, hey, the Eastern Conference is weak with LeBron too, but we still give him credit. I mean, I'm just saying, give them
Yeah,
credit.
but you had
was
like
even
Andrew
worse
Walker
then,
as an
though.
all-star. You had Sharif Abdul-Rahim as an all-star. Those guys were marginal, basically on
Exactly.
bad teams that made an all-star team. So,
Exactly. And like
so
Q, you were saying that the Lakers could have won more. They won 3 straight, but who did they really play? You know what I mean? Like,
Some good ass teams.
Whoa. The
I
Pacers,
mean,
man.
for me,
The Nets were great.
no,
The
Oh,
Nets
now
was
they're
great.
I don't know about great. They
They had
were
Vince Carter, Richard Jefferson, and Jason Kidd.
yeah, that was an 05-06.
Nah,
Vince Carter
they
was
weren't there then. They weren't there then.
The 01 team, Vince Carter wasn't on it. He was still with Toronto.
No,
But
I'm not
05,
talking.
06,
No,
yeah.
they didn't play them then. They played the Sixers in 01.
They played
They
Jersey.
played the Nets in 04, 05. Right? No, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
They
but
played
Vince
the Nets.
wasn't
The
there.
Lakers played the Nets made it in 02 and 03.
Yeah.
Right, Vince was still with Toronto then. He wasn't there. They had Richard I think
I wouldn't call those Nets teams great teams. The Lakers did not play the strongest competition in the finals.
Right.
I'm not going to
That-
say they
I
were
agree,
trash teams,
100%.
but they weren't the
Who's the
strongest
best team
team. Out of the three, I would say the 2000 Pacers. 2000 Pacers.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh man,
no
they
question.
had some good players on this squad. Man, they had
They were
Kidd,
good. No, they were good. They were.
they had
Yeah, the Nets were
Kittles,
a good
Kenyon
team.
Martin.
Yeah, they were good. They were good, but I wouldn't classify them as like a team that like.
They had Brian
were not in- they
Scalabrine.
weren't the
So what are you
93
saying? What are you
Suns.
saying, Matt?
They weren't
They
the
had Brian
93 Suns.
Scalabrine.
Hey,
They weren't
don't
the
hate on the
93
white
Suns.
mama. He gives hope to all the marginal
You know
white
what?
people that think they
With-
can play
with this-
basketball.
Real quick, with the 01 Sixers and the 02 Nets, they weren't the 93 Suns, they weren't the 92 Blazers, they weren't the 91 Lakers, They weren't
I
on
would
that
actually,
level.
in all honesty, I would take that
That's
Drazen
not-
Petrovic, Kenny Anderson, Derek Coleman Nets over the Jason Kidd
What?
Nets team.
Me too.
I don't know.
Man,
I don't the all-time point guard, man.
I don't know. I only say no because I think that 02 Nets team was so much better defensively.
Yeah, but Drazen.
And let's be honest, we're gonna both take Jason Kidd over Kenny Anderson.
Yeah, come on now.
I'm taking Drazen
But see-
Petrovic over all of them.
I'm gonna tell you something. See, you gotta look at it from this perspective too. Now let's look at this. The Nets were at least playing good competition in the East then.
Yeah.
And the Drazen Petrovic Nets and the Kenny Anderson Nets, they were going against teams like, Pistons, the Bulls, the Pacers, the Knicks.
Yeah.
They were playing against good competition. The New Jersey Nets in the Eastern Conference, they wasn't playing nobody but Allen Iverson and them. Like, the East is weak.
Yeah.
This has
Yeah.
always been weak
Well,
ever
that's what I'm
since.
saying, because you had Tracy McGrady led Orlando. They sucked because Grant Hill, the what if again, and even looking.
You know
at
what? I have another what if team.
Grant Hill and the Pistons.
No.
Okay.
Give me the 06 Washington team.
Oh, 05, 06 with Arenas and
Arenas, Caron Butler, Jameson. They were really
Was Larry Hughes on
Larry
that
Hughes
team
was
yet?
still there.
Yeah.
Mike
Larry
Miller,
played
right?
the two guard. It was Larry Hughes,
Ron Butler.
Jared Jeffries, Eton Thomas.
They were a very solid team.
Trying to remember
They were
who else.
deep.
That was the
too,
team
and-
LeBron James beat in the playoffs, right?
Right.
Yeah, that
That
was
was
the
LeBron.
team. But the thing is, I remember those playoff series were lit because I remember LeBron would have a buzzer beater to go into overtime, and then Gilbert would send it to double overtime. Gilbert was so great, man. He just had
The knee injury.
so many
did him in.
guns.
No,
He just had so many guns and so many
Yeah,
injuries.
no, I know he got blackballed. He's a dummy, man. Unfortunately.
He was amazing.
Hey,
I mean,
that-
he's,
I do have to. He outed damn Nick Young though. That shit was wrong.
that was
Oh, man.
hilarious.
It was
Yeah,
funny, but it was wrong because
He's been
like
saying some horrible things on social media, man. He made light of the Flint crisis. I didn't appreciate that.
I'm not.
I mean, he's always on some bullshit.
Because he did that, I mean, it wasn't very becoming of him. It just, now people see that video and they're like, yep, he shouldn't get another chance. He should have been kicked out.
he's out of paychecks now. He's not getting a paycheck.
I mean, he cool. I mean, I don't have any sympathy for him for not getting it. Dude's still collecting checks to this day.
He's ignorant, man. I'm sorry. Like he
was amazing, though.
And if you treat my son like that, the next Snapchat will be of me whooping your behind.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, going back just real quick to the schedule. So I just don't like that. Like OKC's playing the Timberwolves. Why would you not have the Timberwolves play Chicago because of the Tibbs factor? And then have,
you know what? I got one better. Chicago in Miami.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I would.
Miami's
Chicago.
going to be abysmal probably without Bosch, though. I don't even know.
You could also go with New York at Chicago.
But why would you have the closing game at 10:30? Why would you have the Lakers, who your prize player is going to be D'Angelo Russell? Why are people going to tune in at 10:30 to watch D'Angelo Russell? Like,
it's on.
They've done that the last couple years, though.
It's not because of D'Angelo. It's because of the new guy who just came in. What's his name? He's fucking great. What's his name? Mozgov. No, I'm fucking with you.
Hey, real quick, I got some news here. The United States escaped Serbia by 3.
Yeah, and they got a good look on the last play too. It was a broken play.
Oh my god!
That team isn't this team isn't that good, man. This team is not that good.
You know what? I actually thought this team was gonna run the table and blow everybody.
Draymond Green has looked awful. Like
he's not
playing much.
Certain people
play Thompson.
Certain people are not.
Thompson against Venezuela.
Thompson benched himself though.
How many times do we have to say that Klay Thompson looks bad, but before we just say that he's inconsistent as a player? Like, can we just say that now?
Because he had a better playoff run than Curry did this year.
I mean, Curry was hurt.
I wouldn't say he had a better playoff run. He had a couple. Klay Thompson had a couple great games, but was he?
He had
really better?
he had an incredible Oklahoma game.
If it wasn't for Klay Thompson, they wanted to beat Oklahoma City.
But here's the thing.
If it wasn't for Stephen Curry, Portland and Golden State would be tied 2-2.
But here's the thing. He might go for like 9 threes one game, then he'll go for 3 points the next. Because that's what inconsistency is. I'm not saying that he's never had an incredible game, but, dude, he's inconsistent as a player, man. He needs to get involved in the offense more, dude. And him saying that I'm not going to change shit about my game because KD's here.
He shouldn't have to.
I mean, he shouldn't have to, but, I mean, you might want to get more involved if you're going to go, have it duds like that in the finals, dude. Like, how many times do we have to have where was Klay at? Like, I hate having to say that because he's such a skilled player. And his form is so perfect that it might be too perfect. Because there's very little margin for error. Like his shot is just so right in your face, and if you don't hit right between the barrier, like, it's not gonna drop. But when it drops,
he's got the best shooting form in the NBA.
He's got the best shooting form I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
Well, if my daddy was a scrub for the Lakers, and I wanted to play basketball, I hope he would train me how to shoot.
Whoa.
Michael Thompson.
You're going to call Michael Thompson a scrub?
You gotta stop.
No way.
I'm just saying.
You gotta stop.
Hey, I gotta throw this out there.
I'm on my Oscar Robertson like that. I'm on my Oscar Robertson.
Byron hates the Lakers. Byron is not a Laker.
That's still no excuse.
No, he's not.
I don't hate the Lakers.
You hate the Warriors.
I don't love the Lakers.
You strongly dislike.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Hey, will Stephen Curry ever win the Finals MVP?
No.
But he doesn't have to for them to win the Finals.
He doesn't need to.
And he doesn't.
He's just gotta be
I'll
healthy.
say this: he doesn't give a damn.
He shouldn't
doesn't care.
My thing is, I'm marking it down now. They're winning the NBA championship next year. I'm not even debating it. I mean, there's nothing to debate.
I'm going to reserve, because I tell you this, on Off the Bench, my podcast that I do, I said that they were not going to win the finals this year. And that was because, I will be fair though, that's because I had San Antonio going. But the reasons why I had San Antonio beating them are the reasons that Cleveland ended up beating them. So I was kind of right, but LeBron, he's gonna have to play defense. Like he didn't have to play D on Harrison Barnes because Harrison Barnes is a scrub. But
like Klay Thompson's dad.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
You get the mute button.
Hey,
Play defense this series?
Mute.
give him let Byron be the first to be muted.
Oh,
He's
man.
Oh, he muted.
We're around the horn now.
He got him. He got him.
We're around the horn now. Uh-oh.
I don't know how to turn it off though.
He said, yeah, I mean, dude, like, the thing is that Golden State, man, people who, I understand if you want them to lose this finals, but let's be very serious. The Cleveland Cavaliers won this finals on a miracle. They won this finals on incredible, like, life-altering performances from Kyrie Irving and LeBron James in Game 6. It was an amazing thing to see.
They
So,
won 3 in a row. I mean,
yeah, like, 3
that's
in
a
a row.
miracle right there.
That's hard to do. That's really never been done for real. So
Literally, it hasn't. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, like, so for them to do that, I think people are really. This championship was not an anomaly. It was hard fought. It was an amazing series, but so much had to break right for Cleveland to win this finals. I think people are forgetting that just because, you know, and I do agree. Yeah, Golden State won 73 games and they ended up losing the finals, and they had to add a better player to get better. That's hilarious, but at the same time, so much had to break right for Cleveland. Let's keep that in mind. Is Stephen Curry gonna be like 70%? I think he was more like 50%, man. You know, is
Something else? What about the year before when Golden State was playing all the teams that were injured? So much had to go right for them. I mean, look at the point guard Stephen Curry was playing last year. If we want to be like that.
That's true too. But I will say this is that I believe Stephen Curry had to play like 3 of the 5 All NBA players. He had to play against Mark Gasol. He had to play against Anthony Davis. And I don't think Patrick Beverly makes that big of a difference for them to win that series, man. They might get 6, you know. But I don't
He didn't play the first game
you know what?
either.
I can't stand all this. I gotta say, look, Patrick Beverly's great on defense, but let's all be honest here. When they play in the regular season, Steph Curry busts his ass every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's because the Stephen Curry I don't know if you all noticed this, but Stephen Curry's bounce and his like that thing that makes him Steph Curry, it was visibly gone in that Cleveland series. It was visibly gone. In Game 1, he was not himself. That the step back and the handle wasn't as tight. His mind was messed up. That's because Kyrie was in his head after a couple games, and so much had to go right, man. Iguodala had to have that back injury, and I'm not saying that it's an excuse for them to lose, but we cannot ignore a dude who literally playing with no back. No, Bogut gave Love all the freedom in the world to get those rebounds, which he wasn't doing before then. So are we really going to say that unequivocally it is a great chance that they don't win the finals? I don't think you can say that.
The biggest detriment was Green missing that game. I think that's the biggest factor to me.
I think the biggest detriment is Draymond Green calling.
As far as like defensively,
I think the biggest detriment is Draymond calling LeBron a fuckboy. Like honestly, I think that was the biggest detriment.
Getting suspended for just for finally, even though he did worse things like a series before, you don't do that to LeBron James, right? Because they're gonna get you.
Yeah, and I didn't really appreciate this. I didn't appreciate that.
All right, Byron, no more blasphemy. Since I had to mute you and I couldn't figure out, it jammed up. It like froze up and wouldn't let me unmute it. So I didn't mean to do you like that for that.
I feel honored to be the first person unmuted. I'm like the Barack Obama of this show now.
Oh. But hey, go ahead, Gonzo. You were gonna jump in.
It's true. Cleveland was injured last year, and Golden State played against them. But if you look at the free throw differential, Cleveland got more free throws in that series. It just happened to be that Golden State knocked down more jump shots.
Yeah.
This year, on the other hand, and that's why I say this is one thing that really like angers me about basketball, and it's almost like what angers me about United States basketball, well, NBA in general. It's the officiating. I hate it. It's like it's like they do so much to keep games balanced instead of let the players play. Because let's be honest, and if just please go back and look at I had to go back when we had the guy on the show who was the scout. I don't know his name.
Marcus.
So
Yeah, Marcus.
He said go back and look at some of the film. So I went back and looked at some of those films. They hacked Stephen Curry so bad.
Yeah. Before they even pass on the ball too, like in the inbounds.
The calls that he got in the series with Portland, Houston, and some of the OKC series, they had completely got rid of all those calls in the finals.
And you want them to be consistent?
Yeah. I guess the part that makes that's all I'm asking for, brother. It's consistency. I want consistency, but most importantly, it's like let the players play and don't stretch games just for $1. Let them play the game out. But I also know that this year, like you said on the other show, you really think Harrison Barnes was 2 for 14? He was like 2 for 12 one game. You really think KD's going to miss those shots? No.
Yeah. It's just not like, and I'm gonna tell you this: even if KD is missing those shots, 2 guys are gonna be wide open because he's gonna draw at least 2 defenders. I promise you.
You know who's really gonna benefit is gonna be Z-Patch. He's gonna be open under the bucket for dunks and layups.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, people are really sleeping on Zaza, man. And I really think people are sleeping on him. And the thing is they're like, oh well, how is he better than Bogut? I think there's a fair trade-off. I think what you're losing with Bogut, you're making up with Zaza because.
Oh man, Bogut looks pretty flexible right now in these Olympics.
Yeah, in these Olympics.
Like Zaza, though. He's tough.
Zaza is great. I mean, Zaza can actually go to the free throw line, and you can actually play him in crunch time. That's one thing you cannot do.
Yeah. For Lance, because he being in Dallas, what is Zaza really going to bring to this Golden State team?
I mean, he's tough. He's like Bogut in a way that he can pass. I mean, he's just not as nimble. I mean, sometimes he looks like a dying horse out there with how he moves, but he's very, very tough. He's not dumb. He does not make a lot of bad mistakes. And being on that team, he's not going to have to make a lot of decisions anyway. So.
And his offensive rebounding is phenomenal, so he's going to help there.
Yeah. He's going to
forget what Bogut did for that team, though. Like, let's just not forget about what Bogut did.
Oh no, Bogut brought good rim protection and he could catch lobs. But other than that, I don't think he's blowing Zaza out of the water in any other facet of his skill set.
He can move a lot faster than Zaza can. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't know.
Help defense and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Defense, Zaza is not going to be the same.
But here's the thing, though, is that you saw KD against the Warriors last year play some floor, and he became a rim protector in that series.
Yeah, the one that defensively I haven't seen him like that in a while.
And KD, I think he stepped his defense up immensely last year. People are sleeping on that, and the ability for them to run small ball 5 with KD is people think it's not going to happen. Just watch.
And if you want to be honest, like it's small ball, but hell, KD's bigger than Green. So like.
I'm saying, and people run Draymond as small ball 5. So here's the thing: is that they'll probably just run him as a small ball 4 and have Draymond as F5. Think how weird that's going to be. But the thing, I just want to touch on people who think that this is just it's just there's no way that they're going to win.
I think they. I mean, I'm not saying they won't, but I just don't want to pencil them in, man.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is what the shows are.
Nothing's a guarantee.
Of course.
I understand, but there's still a process that we have to go through.
Of course, and
that's why I'm just saying that.
I will decide, just like I did last year, by the middle of the year, if they are going to win the finals. And I was like, no, they're not going to win the finals because they're chasing this record, and they are going to be a detriment to Stephen Curry's health. And guess what happened? I'm on tape saying that. I said that Boston game is proof that you can game plan for them. And that was a detriment to their health, man.
But hey, man, if a player can play 9 times out of 10, he's going to play, Like, it's going to be hard to take them off the floor. Like, the coach can say all they want, but, it'll be hard for them not to.
They're going to coast. Go ahead, man.
No, I was gonna speak because I want to bring up something that Orlando made a good point in the chat that I want to get to. But finish your point real quick because it's not on the same topic.
Okay. It's just when when LeBron, let's say Cleveland plays Golden State next year, right? I guess we can kind of almost pencil that in. I'll be amazed if the Cleveland Cavaliers don't make it back. But if they do and they play Golden State, LeBron James is going to have to play defense. He did not really have to D up Harrison Barnes the way that he'll have to D up KD. And guess what that's going to leave? It's going to leave everyone else to have to fend off Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green by themselves.
And there's no Dellavedova to go in there and play defense.
And there is, I mean, who you going to put in there? Kay Felder? Come on now.
And, hey, who says Kevin Love's going to be on the team by then? Because, I mean...
Exactly.
I don't even think he'll be on the team by then, the way that people are still talking.
As long as they're playing well, you're not going to get rid of him.
The best thing that Golden State can do for
they
themselves...
can get Jay Crowder from Boston, if somehow Boston still finds a way to maybe want him. I don't know if they do now with Horford, but...
I wouldn't, yeah.
No, that would be atrocious having that.
Would you do Noel for
not that
Love?
good defensively, but
if you're the Cavs, yeah, you do Noel for Love. That's probably that actually probably helps both teams.
Yeah, there'll be some acquisitions to that team. They know they have to get better.
They have to. They cannot play that team because dude, think about this, man. You got their bench. They could just run this long. Just think about this lineup for 1 second. They could run Livingston, Clay, KD, Andre, and Zaza, right? Or they could run some shit like this. Curry. Then they could go with who's on the team? Is Rush on the team? No, it's not Rush.
No, Rush.
He left.
Ian Clark.
Yeah, Clark is going to get better, I think. So it's like Steph, and I'm not talking about playoffs. I'm talking about just like regular season. Right. Curry, Rush, Andre, KD, and then put fucking David West at small ball 5 or some shit. Like, just fuck around with people, and it's going to be fun because they have so much flexibility, man. David West and Zaza can literally stand at the elbows on offense, man, and that spacing is going to be amazing. They could stand.
And imagine if this team adds someone like Ray Allen, which could happen.
I don't see Allen coming to Golden State.
Like, seriously,
they don't really need him. That team is already deeper than the ocean. And IQ. Now another thing you're leaving out is, I think that Steve Kerr is a brilliant coach, man. The lineups that he runs in there, man, is scary. It's scary.
I don't know why Verja out there for that long. I'll tell you that much.
Verja's not going to get much burn.
Verja out there for that long. That's the one thing that stuck out to me. I think Verja got way too much playing time.
Yeah, Verja's not going to get much burn in this offense now because they have a guy like Zaza and West. I think he's going to be the third big off the bench. If anything, he's probably going to play like garbage time. But, dude, the lineups that they could do. And, dude, all right, just think about this. Curry, Clay, Allen, KD, Draymond at small ball. Like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm out. Like, I'm out, man.
He just wants to get people happy. I don't think he's coming back. I really don't.
I think he might come back for 1 year.
I don't know if he goes back. I don't know if he goes to the Warriors.
Where there's smoke, there is fire.
He ain't coming back. I would love for him to, man, but...
Dude, he still runs like 10 Ks and shit. Like, he's still in shape. Mm-hmm. So I think he can do it, man.
Pete, Gonzo, are you still there?
Absolutely.
Okay, hey, like Orlando in the chat, when you were talking about the officiating, Orlando made a good point in the chat talking about refs being consistent because they're always switching refs every game. So I told him, I said, how about when we do like they do in baseball for a series, you keep the same ref crew to keep the consistency.
But see, in baseball you can do that because baseball, an umpire can't dictate a game in baseball like basketball. Like they can argue balls and strikes.
They kind of can if they're behind the plate. Yeah, that's where they can.
The strikes can change for each umpire. They don't all call the same.
True. They don't. But the thing is, as long as I'm hitting it, he can't make any adjustments.
Yeah.
What can he say? I can hit I can have a bunch of players like Vladimir Guerrero and constantly hitting pitches that's way out of the strike zone. There's nothing the ump can do.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like in basketball, it's more or less of a. It's not good to have the same ref because emotions. I think that
bias.
Yeah, it becomes biased.
That and they can be paid off.
You know, I think you should be able. I don't
Johnson,
think
you
you
right
should be
on.
able to talk to refs.
Go ahead, Q.
I think that you shouldn't be able to speak to referees like before games and shit. Like I know everyone wants to like be buddy, but do I have a problem with the competitiveness level of some players and a lot of players honestly in the NBA? No guys have that killer in them where they loathe hating anymore. Like Kobe was the last one,
Westbrook, man.
Westbrook, he hates losing, but the thing is though is that he's still learning how to win, so he's kind of he's not that guy yet, but
he's
he
not
can be.
super friendly though. Like honestly,
No, he's not, and I like that. But like Draymond, he was on Snapchat like the other day, and he's making light of how he lost a 3-1 lead, and it's like why that's. I'm like, dude, what are you doing right now? He's laughing with
At
Kyrie.
least he was on Snapchat making light of that and not some other stuff.
Hey man,
Yeah,
let's
man.
not. Yeah, come on, Pete.
Yeah, man. Let's not even go back to those dark times.
That's ridiculous.
Those-
Players should be banned from.
No, but like you shouldn't be able to speak to the refs like, oh, hey, yo, what's up, man? I haven't seen you in a minute. What's up, Joe Crawford? And he's like, oh, hey, what's up, man? What's up, LeBron? I haven't seen you in a minute. Oh, how's the family? You should be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to cupcake with like the referees, man.
I have more of a problem with the refs not saying anything after the game. It's like with football, they explain the calls, and I think Gonzo has said this before. They explain calls in football, right? And basketball, sometimes they just don't explain it. They just walk off the court and then leave everyone like.
There needs to be a challenge system in the NBA. You need to be able to get one challenge every game. That's what I think.
Well, the replay's making the game super long, man. Like I love the replay, but man, sometimes they go to the replay for the most obvious of things, man.
Like, oh, did this ball go out of bounds? The ball's clearly out of bounds, and they're like under the hood for like 8 minutes. It's like, what are you doing, man? They always got the headphones
right
in.
game, so I guess your sacrifices. It's gonna take longer if we want to.
And I want to put to rest real quick the rumor that popped up. I don't even know where it came from, but the rumor of Anthony Davis getting traded from the Pelicans for Draymond Green. I mean, come on.
That's hilarious.
That's such people make up shit. And the second rumor we talked about before the show, Nerlens Noel. I mean, he can't even go to a concert without Boston fans jumping on. Oh, Noel's coming to Boston. And I'm all for getting rid of Okafor and Noel. One of them's gonna have to go, but I mean, come on.
I do think there's some truth to that.
You think so?
I think there's truth to the sentiment of him wanting to leave. I don't know if it's like a deal in place. Oh yeah, he's going to Boston.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, people are jumping on. Oh, we got a deal in place any day now. It's like, come on.
No.
That's like LeBron going to Cowboys games. That does not mean that he's coming to the Mavs. It just means he's a Cowboy. People don't.
Nerlens is from Boston. Yeah, but like Nerlens is from Boston, and the Celtics have had interest in him ever since we drafted him for some reason, because he's one of the best centers defensively in the NBA, and he's still like 23, 22. He's amazing on the defensive end. He's a good rebounder also. So for him to say, I mean, it's not nothing when you change your Sixers Abbey to a black photo. You change your Sixers header to black, and then you take.
You don't trust the process, man. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't trust the process. I mean, the thing is, though, I get it, though. Think about this, man. Think about being the first guy at this company, and people are like, "Yo, we're gonna build with you," and then over time, the company gets new management, and they get new guys, and they're like, "Yeah, this is who we're really gonna go with."
Well, they draft 3 centers in a row. That's what they. I mean, I don't understand.
I mean, the fact that we took Embiid and Noel, that was supposed to work out fine because Noel can play a little bit of power forward and Embiid can stretch the floor at the center position. But to draft Okafor, I still hate that decision to this day. I still wanted to draft Emmanuel Mudiay today. But for us to do the Simmons deal, not deal, but the Simmons draft, it makes sense, but we have to move somebody else. So for Nerlens to say, and do all that he did on Twitter, I think it is a sentiment that he feels scorned, man. And I'm not mad at him for wanting to get out of here. because he wants to have security in his future, man. Like, who doesn't want to have job security? And if you can do it in your hometown, if you love your hometown, then more power to you.
So do the Sixers? Let me ask you this: so the Sixers, if they trade Okafor, they keep Noel. Do they pay them? Do they pay him big money?
If we trade Okafor and keep Noel,
Yeah. I mean, essentially, do you think it's worth paying Noel big
it
contract?
depends on who we trade Okafor for.
Yeah.
Because if we get someone like, we get a good big bag, trade them both. I mean, I don't really care. If we're gonna trade Noel to Boston, the only people that I want is Avery Bradley and Jaylen Brown. Everyone else, I'm not a big fan of on Boston. I don't want a 5'9" point guard. I don't want a guy who's a system player like Jay Crowder. I'm not a big
contract Jay Crowder got though.
No, what about what about everybody wants Marcus Smart?
Marcus Smart, he might actually be better if he's in a team where he could be the guy. I mean, he might have to be the guy to reach his potential. If he's in a limited role in Boston, what's up?
I think he could fit in with Philly, and he's going to bring a lot of defense to him.
But here's the thing: is that 2017, I'm not really in the business of trading for Smart because 2017 has so many good point guards, and I'm not really, one to force a pick or force a player to.
I'm going to have to show growth this year then. I mean,
yeah, but we'll be okay. Rodriguez is back. He's showing basically, yes, it's the Olympics, but he's showing that he can run a team. He can make the easy pass. He's going to make it easy for them. Simmons will transition into that point guard role. So people that are worried about, well, Jared Bayless can't run point guard, he doesn't have to. Once they figure out the for dynamic, I think they'll be okay.
Dario is going crazy right now.
Is he officially going to Philly or is he going to stay?
He already signed with
he's
the
going to
Sixers.
be in Philly. That's what I'm saying. There's a log jam in the front court.
He's already signed, so I mean we have to move. Like a Nerlens or Jalil.
Yeah, I got way too many.
We have. I mean, the thing, and I just hate it how people are making it seem like Jalil Okafor is a terrible player. He's not a terrible player.
I'll take him.
Dude, I don't get.
I was my Mavs. I would love for the Mavs to have him.
I don't get why people don't want this guy.
His own.
He's a top 3 player in that draft.
You know what it is though. What it is with Jaleel, I think the Sixers overvalue him a little bit, and other teams are undervaluing him.
Exactly.
Well, okay, so defensively, and then obviously the dumb stuff he was doing, knocking people out in the streets.
I think you got to forget about that
because off the court as much right now because he's so young.
I wouldn't worry about it because he doesn't have a history of being a knucklehead.
And D'Angelo, we all know what he did. That'll blow over.
That just hopefully that's just an anomaly, but that's just like whoa.
That's what I think it is because he made a mistake. He's young kid, 19 years old.
I mean, he's never lost.
Yeah,
he's been a winner his entire life, dude.
Yeah, I think it's an anomaly.
When Philly drafted him and they did the jersey thing, and he literally just drops it and showed no remorse.
I think that was overreact. People overreacted to that. But the thing is that. If people are really trying to tell me that Jalil Okafor has zero value in the NBA, then please stop talking about it.
Like Orlando too in the chat said, people want to drive basically Okafor's value down to get him on the cheap, and that's
exactly that's all they want to do is say, I don't want him. And the thing is that Jalil, man, he just has to get slightly better on defense, and he has to work on his rebounding. He's a great big man. But his post moves, I will say this, the only negatives I see with him are those two things that I just said, and he takes too long to get into his offense. But he's young. You can teach people, hey, man, here's how you can get into your offense fast. A couple sessions with Hakeem, and he'll be straight. You know what I'm saying?
And plus, with his post game, it's like a throwback, and it's like a lot of times they don't even like to throw the ball into the post nowadays, it seems.
Yeah, and
can he face up too? Like, is he a good face up, or is it? Because I haven't.
He's better face up, quick off the dribble.
Because I've seen him in college, but I haven't watched enough of him in the NBA to see if it translated well.
And the thing is, though, is that he was out of position because he didn't get most reps at his position.
Well, plus you're on a bad team, and it's sometimes it's just harder because everyone's on you.
Dude, he was.
That's why Ben Simmons being there is gonna be a lot better for him.
the best player talent-wise besides him and Nerlens was fucking Robert Covington, dude. Like, come on now,
Exactly.
like that, like for people to say that he has no value, but if you're really gonna tell me that you would rather have Al Jefferson on a 3-year deal for that money than have Jalil on his 4-year deal for that $12 million, you're crazy. And for people to say he has no value, people just lying because they want to get him
Yeah,
on
don't
a
listen
cheap
to
deal.
that, man. I wouldn't even listen if they say he had no value. I wouldn't care. That's crazy. He has value, but for being a top 3 pick, maybe it's not as high as it should be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that we do. I don't need to get Russell Westbrook back for Jalil Okafor. I'm fine. Give me like a top 15 like a protected pick, and I'm straight on that.
Wow.
I'll take Zach LaVine for Jalil Okafor.
Wow.
You know, someone like that. Shit, I'll take Brandon Knight for Jalil Okafor, dude. Like, I'm really not that. I'm not that high on him, but I want to get some value back. You know,
Right.
if we're gonna
Brandon Knight
look
can
at
ball.
Boston,
He's just a victim of highlight reels, but he can ball.
yeah, but Brandon, I mean,
He's just
he's
a
been
victim of
terrorized by
highlights. That's all.
Kyrie. He's been terrorized by Kyrie since 2012, man. It's people say that.
Or that DeAndre Jordan dunk, probably.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
You know what's funny is I believe wasn't Brandon Knight in high school going into when they were going in, wasn't Brandon Knight the higher ranked player?
Him and Kyrie.
He can play.
Yeah,
Man.
I think he was.
Dude,
Kyrie
he's
was.
nice, man. Brandon Knight is actually
Yeah,
nice.
he can ball. He's got a nice game.
And
Yeah.
they actually, the Sixers, for people that were saying that, we'll get into all this because we're going to do season preview starting in September.
Yeah, we are talking a lot about the Sixers right now, man. This is crazy.
Because we're gonna be the most fun team to watch in the NBA.
I don't know, man. Minnesota is my pick, man. I'm gonna be watching every game.
Minnesota's gonna be really fun to watch, but it's not gonna be as fun to watch. It's gonna be really fun.
Hey, they got 18 national TV day games, and they're playing on, or maybe 19, and they're playing on Christmas Eve.
My only fear of Minnesota is that we might be overhyping them just
I
a
was
little
just about
bit.
to say, yeah, because
Oh, come
Wiggins
on,
has
man.
to take that next step. Towns has to take that next
Carl
step.
Towns is
Anthony
gonna be
Davis
in-
better than Anthony Davis to me.
Towns is gonna
Towns
be
is already good. Yeah.
Towns is going to be in MVP discussions this year. Make no mistake about it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna be in MVP discussions this year. I promise you. But here's the thing: is that
I agree.
Wiggins still has to show.
And don't
that
give
he
away
is-
too much, Q, because we still got to do the season show. So don't.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna do it too much,
Okay.
but I just think that we might be giving them their flowers before they've done anything really, and they need to
Was
show
it you
some.
that had him at 5?
I say they can
No,
finish
that was
as high as
Nick.
5. They're definitely going to make the playoffs. I can see them finishing as high as
I
5.
have them
I
at
said
8.
six.
More than likely, I think realistically 6 or
6?
7.
Okay.
But I can see them going 5. I could see them getting as high as 5
Well,
if
see, the thing is-
everything goes right for them.
If Dunn can come in, and I think he will be able to, if he can come in and he can be that guy, then I think they might be able to get to 6 seed. But
He'll take away a lot of minutes from Rubio. Rubio will be gone by the trade.
they need to trade Rubio, man.
Man, I am one of those believers in Andrew Wiggins. I do think he's.
No, he's gonna be that man.
Look at all the really good players. Look at their year 2. I can usually tell in year 2 is this guy going to be a stud. And Andrew Wiggins did make a big jump from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah.
It's just a
He
matter
goes through,
of
and I think he's going to make that next step. I really like him.
I think it's Levine really that you have to be like, well, what is he actually going to be in the NBA?
exactly.
He's I think he's a 6 man. I think he's a Jamal Crawford.
You know what's
clone.
crazy? You know what's crazy, Matt, is a friend of mine who he will remain nameless. And I thought he was crazy when he said it, but I can in a different world, I might be able to see this. He said the Nuggets are going to have a better record than Minnesota.
Oh hell no.
No. I can agree in the sense that Jokic, a healthy Gallinari, you get Wilson Chandler back, Moutier, second year, you got Will Barton as a scorer.
Murray.
Gallinari's hurt every year, ain't he, though? I mean,
Yeah, but Gallinari can light that thing up.
Jokic and Nurkic
I'm
are
not saying he can't. But
Nurkic is
Hey, they
great,
could
though.
surprise and make the playoffs. I have them in the playoffs and went a couple shows back.
is Fareed getting traded soon though? From what I hear, people there, he's on a trading block. What are they gonna get?
I don't think I actually don't think the Manimal fits in with that team.
Right. I don't think he fits in, and I mean you don't have to get a lot for him. They have Jokic, Nurkic, Gallinari can play the four. Chandler.
I
can
think
play the
Fareed
four.
goes to OKC.
But then who do you get back for him?
Fareed?
I think Fareed will end up at OKC. I don't know who for, but I think he might get traded to OKC.
Sabonis.
They're
That'd
not
be
moving.
great. But they're not going to do that.
They're not
It's
moving
OKC's
Adams
style,
and-
Sabonis.
They even moved Canner, but I don't know.
I think Adams is a little untouchable because of how young and how
Yeah.
good he is.
Oh,
Any
Nowhere, dude.
Absolutely.
any
Adams is
center-
not going anywhere.
any center below 22, I'm not taking anyone over Adams. Like anyone. Maybe Embiid.
Everything. You may see Cantor something happen because all that stuff going on with the Turkish,
Yeah.
with his family and stuff like that.
But he's making really weird comments. Like he's
Yeah.
making
Well, his family disowned him from what I heard. Like his family's already
His
like.
family disowned him because it was basically a group that brainwashed him to the point that he supposedly wanted to switch his last name.
Yeah.
And basically, it's a radical group that.
holy shit.
So he's not Cantor anymore?
This-
No,
Well,
it's
it's
like
Gulen.
terrorist.
I think Gulen is how you pronounce it.
Right. It's like a
he's
terrorist
Inez-
radical group over there, right?
he's-
It's a
he's
terrorist
Inez-
group.
He's Inez Gulen now?
That's what he signed it on the letter he wrote, an open letter. Said my parents disowned me. At the end, his last name was Gulen. Enos
Man.
Gulen.
Yeah, like this under the family.
Like honestly though, like basketball should be the last thing on his mind right now.
And I can't believe it's not more bigger news because, usually the NBA gets a handle on that pretty quick.
But what
I
can you
mean,
do?
maybe they told him to just be quiet. Like, hey, don't say that shit no more. Like,
You know,
don't want
it's
nobody-
not. It's what can they do? It's not in their waters. It's overseas stuff. I mean, they can't do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because of that
But
that coup, right?
But it's Gulen. It's Gulen. Is how he signed it. But he put Cantor in parentheses, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
I, mean,
what's
I don't even
going on.
I don't even want to make light of that situation, man, because that's a dude that's literally probably it just doesn't really have a family anymore, and that's. And then and then the terrorist thing, I don't even know what that's about, but I haven't really done a lot of research. I've just read that it's like a radical terrorist group, and
Yeah, that's exactly what.
That's
So
just
it's like Turkish ISIS or
But
some
if
shit.
they lost Cantor, you got Sabonis to step right in.
Right.
Sabonis' level in the post is already up there with Cantor's.
Orlando.
So
is so
essentially,
stupid.
are we going to lose Inez Cantor in the NBA because he's now a sympathizer to the cause?
I
don't mean to be
I don't
funny.
know what that cause is, though. I mean, we
Yeah,
don't know
that's
what
what
that
I'm saying.
cause is.
Hey, I'm not saying shit because I'm not trying to get no AK at my door.
Hey,
Like,
dude,
you said,
They're coming for you, Q.
you said something about Enos. Like, no, I didn't. I didn't say shit about Enos.
No, you did. I see on YouTube. You talk about him.
Hey, but for real though, Blake Griffin's gone, right? Trading Blake Griffin, the Clippers. Are they gonna do that, Pete?
I don't think. I think
No.
Blake ends up going to OKC.
Because that's what I'm saying. But do you think they trade him before that even happens? Because they tried to trade him to Denver last
But
year.
if they trade him, they're not going to trade him to OKC because they know he's going to want to go there. They're going to trade him to where they can get the most value back.
Philly. Let me stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, we done spoke enough about Philly, man.
No, let me stop.
They got some.
Hey, I could do a whole 2-hour podcast about the
Oh,
The
Sixers.
Sixers, the process. I like to see that. To be real, I'd love to see Blake in Washington.
With John Wall, that would be good.
Trade Gortat and like Oubre or something. So that's a nice little package for him.
Yeah.
Oubre's gonna be the man. I'm telling y'all, Oubre's gonna be that man. Like people sleeping on him.
He can
Because that
surpass
draft
Otto
is-
Porter pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm saying, and Oubre, he has a better 3-point shot in my opinion. He
And
can
don't sleep on Washington with Tomas Satoransky because people don't really know who he is, but he's athletic and can get to the rim. Very athletic, dunking the ball, and he can shoot the 3 ball.
Yeah, and the thing is though is that do not underestimate the Clippers' ability to do stupid shit because they want to be good
Well, Doc
right now.
Rivers is not a great GM. Like we
No, But they want to be good right now, though. And the thing is, though, is that Gortat and Oubre could probably give you, or give you Gortat and Porter. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
That
if I'm
might-
trading Blake Griffin, I want your boat and the people on it for Blake
Yeah,
Griffin.
of course.
If I'm trading Blake Griffin, I
The
need
thing about it with
I need some players.
the Clippers, they have to have youth at that small forward spot. Wesley Johnson is basically their projected starting small forward. Wesley Johnson ain't going to get it done for a deep
So
playoff
they
team.
have to have, like, in this hypothetical
Boston,
trade.
they need Jay Crowder is what you're saying. Jay Crowder can go to the Clippers and be that wing that they've always needed.
If
Yeah.
anything, Rudy Gay is going to be the one that ends up going to the Clippers before.
Oh,
anybody.
Fuck, I
That
don't
would
know.
be so ugly.
My ears are bleeding. Aye.
Some,
Hey,
Byron,
for
you know
some
what the
reason,
rumor
in
is?
an alternate universe,
Huh?
like Rudy
The
Gay
rumor
did
is
something in a past life or alternate universe, whatever you want to say, for Doc Rivers to value him that high. No,
You know what,
team
though?
in the
What's
league
the rumor?
You heard the
values him.
I
rumor
heard the
recently,
rumor.
though. You heard the rumor recently of who's trying to get Rudy Gay.
Houston,
Houston Rockets, yeah.
that's going to blow up.
You mean the
That's-
people who traded him?
They're trying to go to the
I
Rockets
swear to
want him.
God,
Byron.
Houston has traded everybody who's turned into be like at least a star or borderline star.
They got rid of Dragic. They got
You
rid of
go ahead
Lowry.
and
I'd
mute
rather talk about Philly for 3 straight hours than talk about Houston. Seriously. I'd rather
we
talk
got
about Philly.
we still got the preview shows coming, so we'll do
Yeah,
each team individually.
we'll get really in depth, but it's just
We'll
little
just-
side
we'll
stories.
just put a
here and there.
cuckoo emoji for Houston Rockets. We won't even need to put their logo.
Houston's gonna be interesting this year,
Let me
man.
explain something to y'all. Let me explain something real quick.
This
There's
is the Rockets fan.
Dallas and Houston, the cities, they hate each other. Lance, we can't have the poo-poo emoji for the Rockets.
I mean, well, Dallas
and not have one for the Cowboys.
doesn't Dallas have a more decorated championship history than Houston does?
No, Houston's got more, but I mean,
Houston's got more.
but we've been more relevant. I mean, honestly, the Mavs have been more relevant.
No, I mean like in like overall sports.
Oh, yeah.
Cowboys. Oh, of course.
Because the Texans
Yeah, the
are
Rockets
shit.
are the only thing. The only thing Houston has is the Rockets for champions.
And the
That's why it was such a big deal.
The Texans are
In
awful.
94, when the Rockets won, that was a huge deal because it was the first major championship the city's ever won.
But sidebar, different sport. Warren Moon was that man, underrated quarterback.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Except his team pissed off a huge fourth quarter lead against the Buffalo Bills in '93.
Yeah, and that again, man. See how they be doing black quarterbacks, man. I'm telling y'all, it's a conspiracy. David Akers, Pete. David Akers misses 2 kicks. How do you miss 2 kicks, David Akers? You've never done that ever until Mike Vick became quarterback of the playoff game. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And David Akers,
But
No,
McNabb choked though. McNabb choked. I'm a huge Eagles fan. McNabb choked. He starts throwing up all over the field, and I can't do it. I can't.
And let's not forget, Michael Vick got the biggest second chance I've probably ever seen. So
God, he was so amazing for those.
Michael
6
Vick
weeks,
got a
man.
huge second chance. We cannot ignore that.
He was so amazing. But all I'm gonna say is that David Akers had 3 dogs, and he misses 2 kicks. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna
Hey
say.
man, we can't do that. I can't.
Pete and Q are true Philly fan.
Hey, you got to ride or die. Like I've gone through many of like I literally like I don't cry very much when it comes to sports, but when Donovan McNabb, Terrell Owens had that chance in 2004, they lost.
But you know
I cried.
T.O. showed
That
up.
was in Houston, by the way.
T.O. showed up.
Yeah, I mean,
T.O. showed up on a
I thought we
one leg.
had.
You know, I had a conversation with T.O. about that. We actually met. I got to hang out with him, and I told him I was like, man, just come play for the Texans. I don't know why they treat you like that in Philly. How you come back from that type of injury, and you bring it in that Super Bowl? He brought it, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
What did T.O. say though? What was his response?
He just smiled and he said, "Yeah, I
He said,
know."
"Fuck Donovan."
Like literally, he was like, "Yeah, I know." He said, "I've been hearing that all weekend." He said, "I've
Gonzo
been."
said 9 catches, 102 yards in that Super Bowl.
He what?
He was
9 catches, 102 yards.
He was phenomenal. And here's the thing, man, is that much like Iverson, I mean, if you got it, flaunt it, dude. Like, the dude was an asshole, but he had it, man.
Yeah, but he alienated himself too, though.
But just think about
you
Vic.
expecting someone to throw the ball to you? Don't
Think about Michael Vick and his ability to get out of the pocket, and you got Terrell Owens streaking down the sideline. I mean, that's all day.
Man, if we had just fuck all that. If Andy Reid just ran the damn ball, if Andy Reid just see, now we're talking about football shit, but if Andy Reid just ran the damn ball, man, he had
Westbrook or whatever, right?
No, he had LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah.
But I'm
sitting
saying
back
in the
there.
TO era,
T.O. era, yeah.
We had a lot. That team was more of a screen team, than it was just a pure hand it off type team. But we didn't have much receiver talent besides T.O. But that defense was so fucking good, dude. Like, we had Dawkins, we had Lito Shepard, we had Jeremiah Trotter.
They only lost by 3, right? They only lost by 3.
I believe it was the second pick that fucked that thing up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, they lost by 3 to a dynasty.
Donovan McNabb,
Basically, they burned the timeouts on New England's possession.
Because that's some Andy Reid shit, man.
And Rodney Harrison gets the interception off McNabb. That's it.
Hey, man.
McNabb, I'll never, ever, ever defend Donovan McNabb under any circumstance.
Dude, like, respect for what he did, man, but dude, you fucking blew it, dude.
I don't know if Philly's ever going to get there again, man.
I always thought he was overrated, though, anyway, man.
Who? Donovan?
I wasn't a big fan.
Donovan was good, but Donovan is not a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Donovan is damn near great, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
Blasphemous. Oh, my God. I did not believe this. Did you just say that?
Seriously, and I had Donovan jerseys.
Let's be real. First of all, he had T.O. for a year or two. Let's go back to those pre-T.O. years. James Thrash as your top receiver. Seriously? Like, who was running back? It was Charlie Garner. They went to Brian Westbrook. You had an injured Deuce Staley. You never really had a running back who was consistent, who stayed injury-free.
And how many conference finals did he get to?
How many who?
4 or 5?
Yeah, he got like the 4 conference championships.
That's a big deal.
Like, hey, that guy's definitely Hall of Fame.
I don't know if Hall of Fame, but I mean, I respect him.
I don't know if he's first ballot, though, is what I'm saying.
I'm going to tell you something. No, they probably won't give him first ballot, but
no, he ain't first ballot at all. But
that's like saying, is Terrell Davis a Hall of Famer? Somebody argued me the other day, said, is Terrell Davis a Hall of Famer? And you know what?
I say yes.
Absolutely.
Well, is that person on crack? That's all I'm saying.
He only played like 7-8 seasons, but he has the most rushing yards, like out of all playoff running backs. I mean, playoff rushing yards. He has a Super Bowl MVP, 2 championships. Not to mention he's had one 2,000-yard season. Oh, but Gale Sayers is in there, and guess what?
You know what I
hasn't got a fucking ring or playoff appearance.
You know why people hate on T.O.? I think when you look at these Broncos teams, that like 10, 15-year stretch, almost every running back that went there rushed for 1,000 yards. They were all really good. I think that's why people look at it like, well, was he a product of the system? I'm not the biggest football guy. I'm not saying he was, but I think that's the argument. Like when you look at all from that long stretch of Denver, the Denver Broncos. Look at all those running backs from T.O. and on, and it seems like they all rushed for a lot of yards.
That's true.
And I think the argument from some people is like, well, were they a product of the system?
Well, time out. Let's go to this.
How about Terrell Davis?
What about Emmitt Smith? What he had like a
he had the best offense. He had the best offensive line. Hey,
so
I'm going to say this.
You put Emmitt Smith really that good?
Sanders,
I mean,
imagine Barry Sanders on that Cowboys offensive line. Barry Sanders would have.
Don't say that.
Barry would have broken every record in history.
Barry Sanders never had an offensive line.
Man, forget all that, bro. Imagine AP behind the New Dale's offensive line, dude. Fuck all that. Come on now.
Cowboys have a trash quarterback.
I'm gonna you better get on somewhere. Y'all wish y'all could have half a Romo.
Man.
Oh, man.
Man, let me tell you something. He is not Troy Aikman. He's not Troy Aikman.
Y'all made Tony Romo defense committee.
You know what? He's not good, man.
You know what?
Okay.
You know what?
Sorry.
You know what?
All right, hey, this seals it right there.
Hey,
we've got to do a season preview of the NFL.
let me be the voice of reason. As an Eagles fan, Tony Romo is good. Tony Romo is actually really fucking good.
How do I mute you?
Hey, time out.
Hey, look what they did without Tony Romo this year.
Tony Romo was good. He didn't have a line.
But there's always a but with Tony Romo, and that is his decision making, and that is his health. Tony Romo wishes he could have half of Tony Romo because he usually ends the year without having half of his arm. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Well, dude, hey, he played that game against, I believe it was San Francisco that year they won, with a punctured lung.
yeah, and you know,
Punctured lung, and he won that game.
dude, he's very tough. He's very tough. He just has the worst luck when it comes to interceptions, dude. He gets flustered. He starts to feel the pressure. He
Well, he's
steps
like Brett
up.
Favre.
See, the thing is, though,
are similar in the way that they do some things that are like.
Nah, they're not similar at all. Brett Favre is a winner.
well,
No.
Brett Favre benefited from having the God.
I never said they were the same. I said they have the same mind state.
Tony Romo was fucking better than Brett Favre. Let me tell you something. Brett Favre benefited from playing weak Minnesota.
Please, tell it.
Twice a
Please
year.
tell it. Please tell it.
The man got the history.
The Hall of Fame Brett Favre. Who do that?
Like,
Let's
Brett
not
Favre was
forget-
good, but Tony Romo was better.
Let's not forget that Reggie White gifted Brett Favre a championship. Let's not ever forget the Minister of Defense did that.
Or you could say the special teams. What's his
Yeah,
name? What's the receiver for the special teams that got the kick return?
Desmond Howard.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's all Favre. I'm just saying Favre
No,
had
the Packers.
I mean,
the
he also
Packers
had a
general
good-ass
was
receiving
good.
core.
They had Roy Butler.
Towards the end of his
Roy
career, he had the Donald Driver, right?
Dude, Brett Favre had the best statistical year at the age of 39. I'm just saying.
No, Brett Favre was that man.
That's crazy.
And if it wasn't for that
You gotta give
bounty,
him his
then-
props for that 1 year in Minnesota when Minnesota.
That
where he was
Minnesota year.
great.
He's old, man. Houston wishes they could have someone like that.
Man, Houston was taking have anything. Houston has J.J. Watt and Bun B. That's it.
Osweiler, and that's gonna blow up in their face.
They could start Bun B at quarterback and they might have the same.
Damn, Bun B.
Oh man.
And then y'all need to
Hey,
start.
you know what he's gonna do? Hey,
y'all
you know
need
what
to
he's
start
gonna-
beating.
hey,
You need to start
you know what
beating
he's gonna do?
as your quarterback.
Hey, you know what we're gonna do now, hey, Pete? With Bun B coming in, man, we're gonna bring that trill lifestyle, right? Right, Byron?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Let's bring that trill, bro.
Yeah, I mean, on Houston, that's
Hey,
it.
so I asked,
Shout out to
I asked
Port
the
Arthur.
chat. I asked the chat if we should do a preview show, for the NFL coming up, since there's not much basketball news.
Right.
We are multifaceted. And Orlando said, in the words of Meek Mill, give the people what they want. So,
Yeah.
so we'll have to
told
get.
you,
we'll
give the
have to
people
get-
what
gotta
they
do
want.
one.
If they want it, we'll give it to them.
We gotta do one. I mean, I'm not really enthused about the Eagles.
Hey, you know
season.
what? Hey, let me ask you this. Hey, I talked to your boy the other day, man. 12 Kyle. He's gonna come on with us, man. You think he'll do the football one with us?
Most likely he would definitely come through.
'Cause I know he said he'll come on for some of the NBA previews we're gonna do. So I'll talk. You can hit him up too, man. Ask him.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. Well, I think this pretty much, puts it into it. But I want to roll through everybody, let you guys basically like we always do, a little open forum, just real quick, touch on some stuff that you want to bring up. Q, what you got first, man? Yeah, anything you want to touch on? Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be sports. It can be whatever you want.
Let me think. Oh yeah, go check out the last show that we did, Batman vs Superman, where like off the top of my head, I just literally pitched a completely different movie. That shit was fun.
He gave us the entire script. He gave us the script.
Like I literally just acted out an entire movie off the top of my head. We did the Suicide Squad review and everything.
Yeah.
That was really fun. I implore people to go see Suicide Squad. It's not good. I just want to see if people think it's good. But just let me know if it's good. Just let me know if it's good. And lastly thing I have to say, they're making a new Bad Boys movie called Bad Boys for Life, and it's coming out in 2018.
Yes.
And I don't know how to feel about this. I just know that Martin Lawrence will be like 53 trying to jump over cars, and I don't know.
Come on, Byron.
And they put it in the dreaded slot of January, which
Too late.
you know
Yeah,
that's getting pushed back.
January is like where movies go to die, and
Exactly.
Martin Lawrence will be 53 trying to jump over cars, and I don't know if I want to see this, but I'm always open because Will Smith.
But Q, remember, Martin Lawrence couldn't do anything in Bad Boys 2, though.
Yeah,
that was 2003.
Doesn't he have like back problems or some shit?
Yeah, he hurt his back, and that's the reason
Byron,
why.
hey Byron, real quick, I want to go to Byron here on this because Byron, please tell everybody in just real quick your thoughts on Bad Boys 2, please.
I think that if you die and you go to hell, you watch The Fifth Element on repeat for half an eternity, and the other half you watch Bad Boys 2.
What you
Hey,
said?
you crazy.
Did
You
say
crazy. You
That was a
crazy.
damn
Fifth
good movie.
Element
I
is
like Fifth
classic.
Element.
I had the Blu-ray set. That's a damn good movie. You need to watch
Fifth
this
Element is
behind-the-scenes special
amazing.
features.
What the hell are you talking about?
Hey man, Chris Tucker was wild in that movie. I mean,
Yeah, bro. He was
But
on
you all
this.
have to realize Byron is probably he's probably tougher than the movie critics who shitted on BVS
All right,
and
let me ask this
Suicide
real
Squad.
quick. Without going into explanation, we don't have to, no comebacks on nothing. What is your top 3 movies, Byron? Top 3, doesn't matter genre, just top 3.
Roast the shit out you.
That's hard for me to do, but I'm going to tell you, I can give you one.
Okay.
The Godfather, I think is.
That's a cop out. That's everybody's favorite.
that's a real answer, man. That's a real.
It was way ahead of its time. I think it's an amazing film. I love that movie. That's one right there.
Okay.
I can't give you 2 more because I love too many movies.
Give us a couple of your favorites.
Yeah, everybody likes Godfather. That's too easy.
But
I mean,
nah,
if you threw out like Kazam or something, like then I'd say, oh shit, like you know.
I mean, shoot, I could look at your wall and pick out some movies. I think The Silence of the Lambs is an excellent film.
Okay.
Okay. You know, another one, and these aren't even my favorite movies, you know, ever. But I'm just saying these are to me some like really excellent films. I could throw out so many. I have genres, you know.
Do you like Pete's Dragon?
I don't want to be anywhere near Pete's Dragon.
Hey, Byron,
That's not. I don't get down like that.
Oh man.
I gotta say this because we go, you know, this is why, you know, we talk about all kinds of things, Byron, but comedies, man. Coming to America, right?
I was gonna say that Coming to America is one of
movie right there.
one of my favorite movies of all time. And then I have like what I call like my ghetto classic films, like my ghetto movie genre, like
It better
like
be Boys in the
Juice.
Hood. Boys in the Hood better
Higher
be.
Learning.
Yeah, Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood is a football movie.
Paid in Full. Paid in Full, I think is a good. That's a ghetto classic movie. I love that.
What's the best Tupac movie to you, Byron?
The best Tupac movie?
Yeah.
Juice, probably, right?
You know, when I was a teacher,
Oh,
I had a
man.
student. I got in an argument with a 12-year-old kid because he did a paper on poetic justice.
I like
And-
Poetic Justice.
And him and 2 other teachers were mad because I said it was a good movie.
It was.
Hey,
It was.
Gonzo says Juice is the best movie.
Juice is
I've
the
got
best
it.
one.
I like Above the Rim.
You know what?
Because I'm a-
I have to
Oh, Above the
disagree.
Rim was good. I love that one.
I have to disagree with everybody.
Rest in peace.
Birdie, to me, the best Tupac movies and most slept on is his last movie he ever was in. It was Gridlock.
I
With
was just about to say, Gang Related and Bullet are 2 movies that most people don't know that Tupac.
nobody ever talks about Gridlock, but that's a good ass movie where like they're like trying to get healthcare in New York City.
Right.
That's a good ass movie.
Him and Joaquin Woodbine. Yeah, that was a really good
And
film.
who else was it? Was it Edward Norton in that movie? No, it was
No, it wasn't Edward Norton. It was
what's his name?
uh,
Dude was in the movie.
Was it Tim Roth?
Tim Roth. Yeah, he was in. Dude, that's a good ass.
yeah.
Pete, I got one for you. The Prestige. The Prestige. I love Christopher Nolan.
Hell,
Okay.
I love it.
You know what? I can't really get into that movie, but just
Bro.
from a filmmaking
The
standpoint,
ending in that
it's
movie tripped me
amazing.
out.
That movie is great. I
What movie
really
no
love
one
it.
ever talks about?
That's Christopher Nolan. He's a great.
Christopher Nolan. They need to let him. DC needs to just pay him like $500 million and just like, look, just make these movies because we can't compete with Marvel.
No,
without
son,
them.
no, man, you can't let Christopher Nolan make the DC universe. He's gonna ground it too much in
Dude,
reality.
look what he done. The Dark Knight. I put the Dark Knight up there, damn near with a Scorsese. Like,
Hey, that's
That's
fine
damn
though. But
true.
hey, but that's fine. That's fine. But then that's true. But can you do Justice League in that same tone in that same universe? I don't think you can.
why can't he? Why
It
not?
might be. He's a how.
Go ahead, Q. Q's the comic nerd here. Give it to us, Q.
If you wanted to do well, it could be good either way. But I think the way that they're doing it right now looks like trash. But I could be completely wrong. But I was not, well, like I said last episode, I was not in love with what I saw of the footage. It looked like a fucking ad for Mountain Dew and Doritos. I hated that shit. But all that like rock music in the background, it was so terrible. But, you know, like, for one, I don't buy Ben Affleck as a Batman. But let's say that the style was more supernatural,
They made
right?
him look fat, man.
Yeah, he looks
They made him
like
a
he's
penguin
bloated,
fat,
man.
like a fat
He
penguin.
looks very bloated. But if they were to do it in that supernatural style, like he looks very bloated. Like so, I don't know.
Like he
what's
has
wrong.
gas to the whole movie or something. Like,
No, it looks like he has like too much bread or something. I don't know. What,
Did you guys see where the open letter came out? The former WB employee called out Zack Snyder and Kevin Tushihara, basically saying that the upcoming movies, Justice League, Wonder Woman, you know, are going to be a train wreck. And
Yeah, I know they are.
basically
I could have
saying,
told you that from the fucking trailer.
I'm gonna go see Wonder Woman just because I think she bad as hell.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Oh my
Like,
God.
Gal
Come
Gadot
on.
is actually she is all that. But the thing is though is that if they were to do Justice League in a more grounded in reality sort of way,
There you go.
I think it has potential to be good because you might be able to explain Aquaman as more of a scientific thing than just I'm the king of those, like, you know what I'm saying, like that's very supernatural.
There ain't
You
no
know,
saving Aquaman.
You know, and you might be able to explain Wonder Woman as having like some type of genetic disease that makes her not age or something. I don't know, and you might be able to do that in that Nolan tone. A lot of people did not like Interstellar, but I think that's one of the best movies that Nolan has done, in my opinion. It just blew my mind when I saw it. But it could work either way. Another movie that people never really talk about. Well, I'm not gonna say this that they don't talk about it. But probably one of the most underrated films. What the fuck is the name of that shit?
who's in it, and I can tell you.
Is it a Nolan film?
No, it's not a Nolan film. I'm sorry. Fight Club.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Fight Club's great. That's one of the greatest of all
That's a
time.
classic.
Yeah.
It's a
Put
damn
Edinburgh
classic.
on the map.
But no one ever gives Brad Pitt that credit for putting on an incredible performance.
He's dope.
But I think Norton was better than him in that movie, though.
Yeah, but circling back real quick before we jump on Fight Club, you got to look at, if you're looking at Christopher Nolan, you've got to look at one of his first films, Memento.
And Insomnia was great too.
I mean,
I actually never saw Memento. Is it
Real
good?
quick though,
see it.
It's
It's worth it.
It's
real
great.
quick though, before y'all move on, you know, I'm the youngest here, so I have a special attachment. I don't know if y'all do, but I grew up on this dude's movies, and the fact that he passed away, well, he not passed away, but the fact that he took his life so tragically 2 years ago, Robin Williams, I love that man's
My childhood,
movies.
Jumanji.
I swear.
Okay. I'm
Pat
glad you
Adams,
brought that. Let me
Mrs.
interject real
Doubtfire.
quick.
Hey, Good Will Hunting. Good
Let me
Will
interject real quick.
1
Could
Hour
you
Photo,
imagine-
he did good in that. He was in Insomnia. I mean, I can go on and on and on.
He's incredible.
Good Morning
Could you
Vietnam.
imagine, though, him playing the Riddler in a Nolan movie? Because I watched Batman Forever because, on average, I've been waking up at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. this week, and Batman Forever was on, and I watched it, and I was like, this is one horrible film. Now, you bring in Christopher Nolan, and you bring the Riddler and you have Robin Williams playing the Riddler, and you make it more of like not Inception, but like you make him more of a dimension. You make it like Saw. You make him like the villain in Saw, the Riddler, and he torments Batman. He torments Bruce Wayne. I mean, I think DC. I wish the films were more like a realistic and more of a realism type of thing, and they're going too far with it. Too far. That Batman versus Superman, horrible.
Nolan made that a niche. He made that his thing. I don't think anyone can do that like he does.
Robin Williams. The thing is, though, is that to me, he never. I'm gonna be so serious right now. Robin Williams, to me, he's probably has my favorite filmography of anybody ever, and that's saying something. But the thing is, though, is that the movies that I love from him are not those. It's not Flubber and Bicentennial Man. 12-Hour Photo. I'm sorry, one hour
photo. Very underrated movie.
That shit is so creepy.
Very underrated.
So creepy. 1 Hour Photo. Good Will Hunting literally brought me to tears when I was when I was like
best ones.
Something poetry. What's it called?
Dead Poet Society is incredible. That is incredible.
Miss Doubtfire and Hook.
Good Morning Vietnam is incredible.
I like Patch Adams. I don't know how the critics like it, but I like it.
He has so many good movies. Patch Adams
is amazing.
Dude, Patch Adams is fucking it's amazing. But I'm telling you this right now. When I was like 5, I saw this movie and I didn't remember it until I saw it again this year. And let me tell you how real this shit was. The movie that he did with Cuba Gooding Jr., What Dreams May Come.
That movie is awesome.
I've never even heard of that movie.
If you have never seen that movie, I'm going to tell you this right now.
I got it.
I remember when I was like 5 or 6, I saw that movie. I was like upstairs or whatever. And I remember this shit so exactly, dude. I like broke down crying, dude, because that movie was so fucking powerful to me, dude. Like, this is
a powerful film.
Dude, it was so powerful, man. Like, the fact that he was
in a car accident, guided basically, by Cuba Gooding Jr. I mean,
yeah, and he created his own heaven. Like, oh my god, dude, that movie is so underrated. Nobody ever talks about that, but to me, Robin Williams has 6 underrated classics, and no one ever talks about it.
Forgot another one.
Go, Matt.
Remember Jack?
I want to say this.
Remember Jack when he played the boy that ate super fast? Remember that one?
Oh, Jack. You're talking about Jack. Yeah, Jack.
That's a sad ass movie.
And I know this is gonna touch close to Byron. I'm sure it will, Pete. We know Q's a nerd just like all of us, so he's gonna get banned. But I know every last one of y'all saw the Rogue One trailer yesterday. Please tell me y'all saw it.
Oh yeah.
I did, and I tweeted out that I think it's going to be a better movie than The Force Awakens.
Oh my gosh, bro! And at the end,
good, but The Force Awakens was the bomb. I don't know why people hate that movie so much.
I didn't really like that
watch
movie
it right now.
I didn't really like that movie for reasons that I way too much. Like the way that they had John Boyega portray, I was not really feeling that they castrated him in that movie. He was getting no action at all. He was just being a bitch the whole movie. Like, he got knocked out. He had to have Chewbacca carry him off, and come on, dude. Like,
so he kind of like the G. Come on now, you got no experience. You gonna fight? Let me tell you something, bro. Let me tell you, if I'd have been in that movie, if I'd have been the one black guy in that movie, I would have never made to fight Kylo Ren.
But they made John Boyega. They made John Boyega a damn stereotype. This nigga was a fucking janitor. Like, what the fuck? Like this nigga was a janitor. This nigga was eating out of the trough with the animals and shit. Like, no, dude. I was in there like, what the fuck is this? So, like, and outside of that, there's nothing really that new in The Force Awakens that was, like, different from A New Hope. There was no new ideas.
Let me ask you this. Opening scene when we first see Kylo Ren and Dude, I think it's Poe shoots the laser and he freezes it.
When he's like,
that was dope.
That was fire. No, that was fire. But like when you take his helmet off, he looks like fucking Napoleon Dynamite. Nah, dude, I'm not really.
Hey, I'm not worried about that. Hey, but you know what? This is the only thing I would say about that. like you see him, he freezes the
Only in Dynamite.
blaster, right? He freezes the laser from the blaster, right?
Yeah.
And that's the dopest thing he did. Like, it's like, oh my god, this dude's super powerful.
Yeah.
But then,
No, but dude,
that's the only thing
Rogue One looks dope.
What role will based off the, because everybody saw the trailer, so what role do you foresee Darth Vader actually having in this?
He's
I
probably
think he's gonna have a
like,
role similar to the. I think he'll be similar to the Joker in Suicide Squad, actually.
I think he's gonna. Yeah, I was gonna say that, but a different move. I think he's gonna be like Spider-Man or Civil War. He's gonna have a badass scene and then disappear for like the rest of the movie.
I think he'll pop up a couple times. I think.
You think he'll be sprinkled into the movie?
I think what we have to ask though, the important question is a Palpatine role in this, because he is the Lord, the Sith Lord, the number one guy, right?
I you know, the thing is, this movie is really gonna be a war film. It's not gonna be just a. It's not gonna be just a Star Wars.
There's no Jedi.
Yeah.
There's no Jedi in this
and
movie.
it looks kind of like a James Bond movie, maybe mixed with like Saving Private Ryan, almost. Because that shot where she's on like the landscape of some sort. It's high up in the air, and the TIE fighter comes out of nowhere. And she has like the gun. She's pointing at the shit. Like that shit was kind of dope. Like I ain't gonna lie.
The movie's gonna be off the chain.
I think it's gonna be dope. Real quick, another movie that nobody ever gives the credit that it should. Just real quick, I have to touch on this. I would be remiss if I did not speak on this. Philadelphia. People hate this movie because
Never seen it.
people hate this movie because it was like clear like
You've never seen
LGBT
it?
propaganda and
No.
shit. But dude,
Wow.
Denzel killed it, man. Denzel is one of the best. And Flight is so underrated, man.
I put Denzel up there with De Niro and Pacino, but
To me, Denzel's
I had to realize something, because when I saw Man on Fire with that young Dakota Fett, that movie,
Yeah, Man
I
on
shed-
Fire
I
was
shed
damn
thug
good.
tears, man.
Yeah,
I
that was a
shed
damn
thug
good
tears when
movie.
I seen that.
Bro,
That boy should got an award for that. But when you think about it, I kind of think about it. I'm like, man, I watched Malcolm X as it came on HBO. I'm like, man, he's almost like the same guy in almost every movie, because it's like,
dude,
voice-
you can't be anyone but Denzel. I mean, and that's the thing about him, is that it's kind of like Will Smith. Like Will Smith is just Will Smith in every movie.
Yeah.
That's the only thing about Denzel, is that it's very rare. Like the only time that I saw him where I was like, wow, was
Training
Flight.
Day?
Because Flight was where he wasn't Denzel. He was like broken.
He was like a drunk. He was a drunk
Dude,
druggie.
He was
But
broken. He was vulnerable.
Look at movies like Devil in the Blue Dress. Like look at
Yeah.
What about Fallen? Was it
Fallen?
not
Look
Fallen?
at-
What was the one?
look at
Not
Fallen.
What was
Look
the,
at,
Was it Fallen? Yeah.
Yeah, Fallen, where John Goodman was in it, and he basically.
Yeah.
Then you've
With
got,
the little demon that like possesses these guys.
yeah.
Yeah, correct. Then you've got.
Let me ask you a question.
John
Let me ask you a
Q, of
question.
course.
John Q was awesome.
That's hands down his
I love
best
John
movie
Q.
to me. That shit like very
He got game. He got game. I love that.
Yeah.
Ray Allen couldn't act for shit, but I believed it for some reason. Like he couldn't act for damn, but I
That's
believed
because
it.
Denzel was in it.
Denzel carried that movie, but the name of the movie ought to have been called He Had Sex, because that's all he did. He did that more than he played basketball.
You got Remember the
I mean-
Titans. He had a role in, obviously prominent role in Glory.
Yeah.
The
Equalizer.
Hurricane about Reuben
Equalizer.
Carter.
The Hurricane.
Equalizer.
Hurricane's
What about-
good too.
Yeah.
The
Equalizer was
Equalizer.
good. Safe House
Mo
was
by the
good.
Blues though.
Hey, what was the one he was in where it was like a post-apocalyptic world that came
Book
out
of
like
Eli.
Oh, Book of Eli. is
Book of
so
Eli,
underrated.
yeah.
Yeah.
That is the most underrated Denzel movie. No one, bruh. When you find out, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it. When you find out that he's fucking blind, bruh, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I didn't believe that shit. But I'm gonna ask y'all a question. If you had to compare discographies, right? Not discography. That's from.
Filmography.
If you had to compare filmographies, who do you prefer? Scorsese or Tarantino?
Ooh.
Scorsese, easily.
I like Pulp Fiction, of course. I like The Hateful Eight.
You know,
I
Django
like
offends
Reservoir
me.
Dogs.
like it for some reason.
Jackie
I'm
Brown.
asking a question.
I don't know, because I like Jackie Brown. I mean,
Jackie Brown's underrated. That would
I
be
mean,
that would be a director's
that's
best
hard.
film.
And I
I
It's
still go with
underrated because,
Scorsese.
dude, Wolf of Wall Street is fantastic.
Yeah.
Fa-
oh,
Excellent.
Goodfellas is
the Depart, hey,
fantastic.
hey, Byron, The Departed.
The Departed is Scorsese.
The Departed is fantastic.
I like
Dude,
Right there.
Scorsese and I like Scorsese and DiCaprio together.
But I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you who's coming for them right now, and they both black. Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. They are the new Scorsese and DiCaprio, and they coming for them, bro. If you
They're
have not
doing
seen,
what John Singleton and Pac were trying to do.
yeah,
But
Fruitvale Station. I only watched it once. I only need to see it once. That's
Hey, is that the dude who directed Creed?
yeah, that's the guy
Yeah,
who directed
same.
Creed. And now they're about to do Black Panther from Marvel. They gonna kill that shit too. So
He's
I'm telling
directing
you,
Black Panther?
yeah.
Oh, shit.
I told y'all. See, DC can't compete right now, fam. Like, just stop
Well,
it.
DC can't compete because Stan Lee was a genius. The Marvel universe is so vast, and all of the characters are intertwined with each other. Like, like for example, we know Black Panther is with Storm. We know that like a lot of the X-Men are related to each other. It's so vast, and there's so many characters, and they're all pretty complex. DC, you got Batman and Superman, the only two interesting ones. I mean, who cares about Nightwing? I don't. Who cares about the Flash? Not really.
No. See, I would say the Flash. I would watch the Flash.
I don't care about him in real live action. Like, I don't know what it is. It's something about DC's heroes that only work for me in animation, man. Like, Batman works for me in real life, and Green Lantern could work for me, but there has to be so much CGI to go along with it. And to
So
me,
you really, essentially, and Gonzo, I'm going to go to you, Gonzo, because I know, fuck, you can just agree or disagree. DC really can only make a Batman movie.
Now, that's true. But I think the problem is with DC characters is that DC characters, man, they're fucking boring. Like,
thank you.
like, don't get me wrong. Like Batman is probably the best one because he doesn't really have any real power. What makes him so great is that he uses his brain to push himself to the max.
He has inheritance.
And then like I say, he uses his mind to he uses every brain cell he is to get an advantage. He's constantly kind of trying to outthink his opponent.
I mean, dude,
Superman,
like Gonzo, like,
an alien.
can you name me a DC character besides Batman, right, that has even half as good a villain catalog as Spider-Man does from Marvel?
No.
No,
Like,
really.
who, like, can anyone in here name me Flash's main, his main, like, arch?
No.
No one can. Can someone, can you, Pete?
Yeah, no.
Superman is the only other DC.
Well, who's it?
The only other
Darkseid, Lex
DC
Luthor?
character, like DC, the only Superman's the only other DC, character.
Who's it? Lex and Darkseid?
You got Brainy, because you got Brainiac, you got Doomsday, of course, Lex Luthor, Darkseid, but he's kind of like, he's more of an overarching. The thing is, though, is that Marvel has so many better villains. It's not even funny, dude. But here's the thing that Marvel has gotten wrong though in their movie. That's the flaw of their movies.
Is the villains.
The only two villains they've treated right to me were Red Skull and Loki.
And the thing is, though, I'm not in love with Loki the way everyone else is. Like, everyone else.
It's because you know what it is though. It's because Tom Hiddleston has done an awesome job portraying Loki.
Yeah, and and I give him that, but I'm not in love with Loki the way everyone else. I think there's a lot of fangirling that goes on with Tom Hiddleston.
So would you take Red Skull? Did you like Red Skull?
I like Red Skull more than Loki because he looked like Red Skull. He acted like Red Skull.
Nah,
You didn't like Red Skull, Gonzo?
No.
I didn't like
Red Skull was dope.
I said Loki.
It's one more thing that makes DC kind of not stand out as much as Marvel. It's like when you look at, let's say, for Justice League, you put all those characters together, and then you go look at something like the X-Men, you go look at something like
The Avengers.
You look at them like, oh, I know the X-Men gonna bring some damage. I absolutely know the Avengers gonna bring some damage. I see Justice League, I'm like, oh, they about to get their ass killed. It's like you don't see that dominance.
The thing is, though, is that the thing about like DC is the fact that Superman is so overpowered that it's like there's never really any stakes.
No.
With him,
You gotta
because
go dig up some diamonds and some
you have to they
No.
had to invent weaknesses for him. Like, oh, he's afraid. He's immune to magic now. What the fuck? When is he ever like? Oh, all right, okay, magic. I guess is what his new shit is. But
Look at Batman vs Super. He can't see through lead.
yeah, like come on now. Like when? Since when? How? Sway? Like what the fuck? Like when has that ever been a thing?
In all actuality, I mean, I'm still going to go see the movies, but
Of course we are, because we're fucking nerds.
Marvel
Bro.
has
I
them,
think that
has
shit's critical.
DC hands down right now. Like, I don't know. I mean,
Dude, I'm gonna be in that theater just like this.
See, like I'm gonna go see.
Hey, I want
Listen,
to, because Gonzo and Matt haven't gone basically with their favorite movies, and I want to jump to a chat room question, and after those two go, I mean, basically everybody that's watching this can see my mass array of movies and see what posters on the wall to see mine, so I don't have to really. But I want to hear, Gonzo. I want to hear. You know, I know you kind of chatted us with it, but tell the viewers some of your favorites.
My favorite movie, number 3 favorite movie of all time would probably be Why Do Fools Fall in Love.
Oh shit.
My number 2 favorite movie would probably be I like 8 Men Out.
Oh yeah.
What?
I like that.
Never seen it.
Eight Man Out. It's got John Cusack's in it. Ray Liotta's in it.
I've never been a fan of John Cusack.
No, this
Don't
movie
say that
is
to
good.
me.
It's talking about like the 1919 Chicago Black Sox.
Yeah.
It's a shoeless Joe Jackson.
Yeah, the owner was so cheap he didn't want to get a player their bonuses. Like he was making pitchers take days off or weeks off, so they wouldn't reach their win goal, so they get their bonuses.
Yeah.
He did it on purpose. So the guys decided to blow the World Series to earn some extra money, you know what I'm saying, through the mob. You know,
That's hard.
and they ended up getting banned from baseball for life. That was actually good though. Good movie. And probably my number 1 favorite movie.
Charlie Sheen was in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen. Yep. My number 1 favorite movie of all time.
Peace Dragon.
Man.
How does Pete's Dragon keep getting dragged in this conversation?
Because of you, bro. That's
Oh,
why.
Pete's
You
Dragon.
brought it up.
See, I like horror films, so I'm gonna go with the whole Nightmare on Elm Street series.
Okay.
Okay.
After 3 though.
Like 4. Honestly, 4 was kind of. Well, no, I think it was maybe 5 that kind of like when he had his mother like coming out of the Freddy's.
That was ugly as hell. All right,
Yeah, that was fucking stupid. Yeah, like.
let me ask you this about horror movies then. Do you like The Ring or Saw more?
Saw.
So.
The Ring always fuck with me for some reason because it's like, dude, like the thing is, it was just so extra.
Bitch came out of that fucking.
Let me tell you a
that
movie that
long
will
hair.
fuck with you is Stephen King's It.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll fuck with you.
The first half is really scary. Then it gets like really like kooky
Yeah.
with the
Hey,
writers.
but you know what, Q? You have to say this. Remember, that was a made-for-TV movie. That wasn't
Right.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
So imagine
And
what
that
they're
was
going to be able
really
to do with the rated R actual in theater.
Which is
And
coming.
you know,
That
and you know,
movie terrified me. And I saw it when I was 18 for the first time. I couldn't watch all. I had to leave. I
and
was
you know,
watching it
people
with this girl, and I left her house. I was like, I can't.
didn't get no draws. And then he was like, I
Yeah, I was
gotta
about to say, you ain't getting nothing.
Well,
gotta
my best
go.
friend ended up marrying her, so.
go. You're like, well, why you going home? I gotta go. No, it's just like, have you all seen the new Blair Witch trailer that came out?
That shit looks freaky.
Yeah.
It looks weird, but I'm not gonna give my hopes up because I thought, like, I like The Conjuring 2, but it wasn't as good as the first one.
Yeah, the Conjuring first one was really, really
The
good.
first one was fire. Second one was like, okay.
Hey, you know what's really? Speaking of horror movies, and I'll give you my 3. I'm not gonna be in any order because I can think. But man, you know what really creeped me out? Sinister.
That's a weird ass movie, especially
It's
in the
different.
end.
Super creepy.
In the end, that shit fuck with me. I was like, holy
Yes.
shit. It was her the whole time.
You know what my all-time horror movie though, scariest, is The Stranger.
Exorcist? Oh, okay.
Strangers,
Because
you know they're making the Strangers too.
Yo,
Because
Yo.
it's so realistic.
you tripped a nerd, fam.
I had to turn the lights on, and mind you, I'm like 27 when I watched this the first. I had to turn the lights on. I was
My
freaked
wife
out
won't
so
watch
much.
it. Like she
It's
will-
so
Bro,
realistic.
Bro, you
It could
struck a
actually
nerve.
happen.
You struck a nerve, bro, because it's like I remember when like this year when like I was in like college, fam, like we was in the dorm room, right? It was like me and like just imagine like a whole bunch of basketball and football players, bro. No one wanted to leave the dorm because we had to like other dudes like what they lived across the way and shit. They did like go through like 2 parking lots to get to their dorm and whatnot. And niggas was just like, yo, I'm not trying to go home right now, bro. We was like, why? It's like this big swole ass DN is like, yo, I don't feel like going home right now, bro. You know about crash here? Like, dude, that's a scary ass movie because it's like,
what is it about? I've never seen it.
no, watch it like in the dark. When no one
Hell
knows.
no.
Y'all do that.
Y'all, that's scary. Y'all had to turn on. You had to watch with the lights on. Why are you telling me watch the
Nah, fam. Watch that in
Turn
the
your
dark.
lights on in, bro. It's
Yeah,
good.
dude,
It's
and
scary.
even
It's
if you do
realistic.
watch the lights on, man, you know the scariest part of that movie is that like makes it horrifying to me is when in the end she's like, "Why are you doing this?" And they're like, "Because you were home." Like that's so fucking creepy, dude.
Yeah.
That's so scary, bro. It's like because you answer. It's like, oh, and then like she's like at the front door, she's knocking. Can you let me in? She's like, there's no one here, and like she's like, oh, okay, no one's here. Oh my god, dude. That's why. Like one time when my doorbell rang at like 10, I said nope, not doing this shit.
All right,
what did y'all think about
what's
Scream?
your three?
Scream.
My three, I'm gonna
two.
break this down kind of by genre because that's the easy. Because there's so many movies that I've watched. My favorite comedy is obviously Coming to America, but also I got a kind of a tie for comedy: Coming to America and Bad Santa.
Okay.
Santa 2 coming out.
Yeah, I saw the trailer, the Red Band trailer for that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Do you like
Billy
Rush
Bob
Hour?
Thornton is an asshole.
Yeah.
Do
That
you
dude, it's gonna be
do you like the Rush Hour films?
I like the first 2. Now the third, I'm not gonna lie, Byron and I, when the third one came out, I had just got out of the Navy, and I think it was me, Byron, and I think Josh came with us. Byron, we went to the movie. That opening scene where Chris Tucker's directing traffic and
That's
he's
hilarious.
dancing, we were in tears.
No. When he was going after none, that part made me laugh. He was like, "No, man, your mama." Like the way he was talking to her, like
Right.
that was.
You know,
Yeah,
I feel like
did
that's
the
an
Rush Hour
underappreciated.
movies.
It's an underappreciated movie because 2 was so great, and compared to 2, 3, it looks okay. But if you just saw 3 without seeing
They were all
2
good
alone,
movies,
you still
yeah.
think it was great.
I mean, my favorite group of movies, and Q, you're probably going to disagree because it wasn't your generation. Byron is probably with me. American Pie.
Oh
I
yeah.
like the first one.
Oh gosh, even
That's
all the way up
3
to
and after that.
all the way
that's
up to even American Reunion. Byron, remember me, you, and Mike went to watch it, man.
I didn't
We were in
like that.
tears. What?
I like
Man,
the-
we
I
thought the
laughed.
first-
Hey, that was.
First and the third one were good.
Man, come on, Byron.
I
When
only.
Stifler,
Nah.
when Stifler was shitting in those dudes' coolers, don't tell me you weren't laughing.
That was funny, but
Wedding
But-
Crashers was better than American.
it was. I got to. Only the first and the third American Pie were good. We related to the second one, Matt, because we were hanging out with some guys in your neighborhood that were a lot like the cast of that movie.
You have to understand, like, at this time, I lived in there was a lot of white people where I lived, and Byron came from the hood. So we would come to my neck of the woods, and we went and saw American Pie 2, so that's what Byron's referring to.
Okay.
Can
But,
you classify the
comedies
Scream
now?
movies as comedies, Matt?
I would consider them kind of horror spoof type movies, not
Yeah,
necessarily
horror spoof.
full-fledged
I really
comedies,
like.
but
I
not
really
full-fledged.
like all
The first
four
one was
for some
good, man. I don't know
They
about
weren't
the sequels.
reason. I like all
Second one
four
was
for some
alright.
reason.
I think
Third
they were
one was
semi-spoof
terrible, and the
movies.
fourth one was terrible.
I like the fourth one for some reason.
The
It was
fourth
just so
one was the
dumb.
bomb to me. I like
It
it.
was so dumb, but it was so good, bro.
But when they killed Hayden Panettiere, I was like, no!
I said, oh shit. I said they didn't kill the white girl. It's over now. But dude, what about the Friday films?
you
I was never.
Friday?
I was
I mean,
actually
come
never
on.
into them.
You
The
can't
first
get a better series than
The first one is the best one.
Friday.
Of course, I hate when people try to be like outliers. Just the second one's, but no, it's not, dude.
I like
First,
the third
the
one better
first,
than I like the second one.
exactly. But the first Friday, dude,
That's at the staple.
it's the epitome of lightning in a bottle because it's like he created an entire universe on one block where we know every character's names, their mannerisms, and just we reenact them over and over and over. The second ones and the third ones, we don't do it as much. Like we know Smokey, we know Felicia, we know the little midget guy who caught up. That's like classic material. And Ice
Right.
Cube does not get enough credit for being a great comedy writer.
And
Man.
neither does Chris Tucker, because I don't think that a lot of what he was saying was scripted. I think it was a lot of ad lib, impromptu. Like certain things you just don't write. Like that scene where he was like, what'd he say about the mind control thing over Devo?
Oh, he was like,
Like,
he said, yeah, when Devo be here, I'll be quiet. But when he leave, I start talking.
I be talking.
I be talking. That's the stuff he was saying in that movie. There was a lot of subtle things that Chris Tucker said in that movie that I don't think were scripted. I think he was just
Yeah.
he was brilliant.
I'm gonna jump into my next genre here before we go on this huge tangent. And it's like 4 hours but I was gonna go with, I don't know if it would be considered like thriller, drama, suspense, but one of my all-time favorites is Primal Fear. Edward Norton and
Yeah,
Richard Gere.
very good movie.
Yes, that's another one of my big-time favorites. And I'm going to give a sports one away. I know we're going to do a sports one, but one of my all-time favorite movies, I got to say Field of Dreams.
I fuck with it.
I'm a big fan of Field of Dreams.
Spoiler to everybody. Next week we're doing next Thursday, I believe, we're doing our sports movie podcast, and we're gonna split it up by sport. Basically, top 5. What is your top 5 football movies? Favorite football movies? Top 5 baseball, top 5 basketball, and so on.
Thunderstruck. No, we stop.
So.
Thunderstruck. My favorite basketball movie is Thunderstruck.
Sit down. Have you seen?
Your band.
You know what? I like that movie though. I like Thunderstruck.
No,
I
as
know how to
soon
take you off mute again. So.
I saw him.
Mike.
No,
Yo, chill. That's a classic movie.
It's the Caucasian version of like Mike. You know what I mean?
Don't go talking about Shad Moss that way, man. He
Mike.
He's got the rap
Because he
game
retired.
on lock.
Hey, he retired.
Man, I always felt like that character in Thunderstruck reminds me so much of you in like high school, man. You know what I mean? Like that girl. That would be the type of girl you tried to get.
Hey, real quick, but so I wanna answer this question before we get out of here, because I want everybody to roll through. I know Q went. We ended up going an extra hour, which is all good, But we got a question in the chat of what is our favorite, in our opinion, the best 30 for 30 film.
Oh, that's easy. Let me take this one. That's easy. It's definitely OJ.
OJ.
Hands down.
Okay. Byron?
Yeah, OJ.
Q?
I'm sorry. Who's the best athlete turned?
No,
best
the
30 for
30
30.
for 30.
Oh, the best 30 for 30?
Yeah.
Ben Wilson. That's the saddest 30 for 30 I've ever seen in my life. Benji, that's the saddest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. Gonzo?
O.J. Simpson.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I had before
Yeah, free OJ, man.
because the OJ special just came out. So before that, I had Chasing Tyson as my top. Between that and the Chris Herron special.
That's a good one too.
Those were
Chris
I was
Herron
kind
could
of
ball.
yeah.
Chris Herron was so good, but he was on that dope, man. I'm telling you,
Wasn't he?
Celtics,
Was he before J Dub?
Yes.
dude, the Celtics
That's what I
draft
thought.
so
He was
many
like
damn.
Jason Williams before
He was
Jason Williams.
92, 93.
Celtics
Yeah,
draft
he
so
was-
many damn heads, man. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about their history, but they just have so many dope fiends in their draft history, man. Didn't they have one guy who died on the court and shit?
Hank Gathers.
Reggie Lewis.
Then Reggie Lewis, yeah.
Yeah, Reggie Lewis, he had like a heart problem. He like died like
Yeah.
as soon as he got off the court. Like, God,
Yeah.
dude.
I didn't remember they had that little rumor that came out about Reggie Lewis like maybe a year after he had died. They said they found traces of cocaine in his system and his wife denied it.
I mean, shit, man. Everybody was on that coke in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was bad enough that Chris Herron would say before the games he would run out to the front of the arena on the corner 10 minutes before the game, cop drugs,
to
shoot up,
get his fix.
and then go on the court and play.
Dude, it's so, like I remember when. Do you remember that part of the documentary where he was talking about how he got a hit from like some dude, and then he woke up in Oakland?
Yep.
That is the craziest story
I mean,
I've seen in my life.
he wrecked his car in the drive-through because he was
Like,
so damn high. Like,
Dude,
I mean, that's some
It's not funny,
half-baked shit. Like,
it's
you
not
just
funny,
run
but
somebody's
it's-
ass over in the drive. I mean,
Dude, how
that's
do you
an
wreck
underrated
in a
movie
Taco
right
Bell?
there.
How do you-
Half-baked is an underrated movie.
How do you wreck in the damn Taco Bell? Like, how does that happen? Like,
But what's up, Gonzo? Go ahead, man. I didn't mean to.
No, I just thought. I mean, the guy said he got high and woke up in Oakland. I mean,
no,
you know,
like, dude, no, like he lived because he was in Sacramento, right? And he was, I think he was, what was it? Pete? He was training with Tark at UNLV because he went there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. He transferred to UNLV, and he got some drugs, right? And he was in like San Fran or some shit. Right? I think it was, I think it was like LA or something. And he tells his wife, "Yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming to the airport because he has to fly back to like Boston or some shit. I don't remember." But the dude says that he met up with like his dealer, and then all he remembers is blacking out, and he wakes up in fucking Oakland in this truck on the side of the road. He's like, "How the fuck did I get here?" It's like a damn hangover movie, dude. Like it's really sad. But another good 30 for 30. The saddest 30 for 30 besides Ben Wilson and Bias, because those are obviously the two saddest ones. The one about Ali, where he got his ass beat by Larry Holmes,
Yeah.
and he was visibly starting to, you could see him starting to shake a little bit. That was really sad, and especially now that he's passed, and knowing that that could have been averted maybe because he was just too old in the ring, man. And people were saying that was literally like an execution. Like, that was like not even a fight. Larry Holmes beat the shit out of Muhammad Ali, and it wasn't even close. Like, I mean, he was getting headshots, he was getting body blows, but the headshots were so crucial. And I think that's the fight that really sent him over the edge, man. And it's really sad.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Who didn't go?
Hey Pete,
Yeah.
should we? I think everybody went, man. Should we let everybody know? I know you told them about next week with the movie. Should we tell them about Tuesday?
Tuesday? Okay.
I can't wait.
So
I can't wait.
So we got something special for everybody on Tuesday. Kind of came together at the last minute, but I think it's going to be a good one. We're doing a 90s and pre-2004 of the 2000s R&B show. So we're going to do
Oh shit.
favorite artists, what inspired us, basically, or basically what we were listening to, and we've got a special guest that's actually going to come on. Byron should get excited about this one. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit. It's a guy from Houston. His name's Avion Foster. He basically, not to spoil too much, he's an up-and-coming artist. He lives in the Houston area currently. This dude can blow. He's going to come on. He's going to do little,
What's true?
basically some songs for us. He gave me a list of songs. I'm not going to spoil those songs, but he's going to put on a small little snippet concert. And at the end, he's going to do an acoustic performance of his new single. That's going to be the lead single on his upcoming album later this year. And he's going to talk about some of his music influences, kind of what inspired him to get into music, what it's like kind of behind the scenes for someone that's kind of struggling, what advice he can give to today's youth that's trying to get in the industry. So we're doing that Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then Thursday night, we're going to do the sports movie show for everybody. And then kind of spoiling ahead, we talked about it earlier. Rolling into September, we're going to start our NBA shows back up. We're going to do team by team. We're going to do one show each team.
How many do you want to do a week?
I mean, I'd like to get, at least 2 a week, if not, if not 3. Just depends on, everybody's schedule. I do want to rotate guys out because there are certain guys that we have on the panel that know they're, more teams than others. Obviously, Q with the Sixers, and we got like Big Stowe knows the Cavs, and Shoe Collectors knows the Cavs. So we're gonna try to be, able to lance with Dallas. So we'll try to roll guys through as much as possible for those shows.
Another thing, should we tell them who you got to come with us on another person?
So
we got for one of those.
We got another big name. A lot of people don't like him, but I don't give a shit. We got him. So it's Peter Bessie, Turner Sports, did some work, obviously the NBA. Basically, he's been in the business for, with the New York Knicks since, the 80s. He's agreed to come on and do one of the preview shows, likely the Knicks, of course, and maybe some other shows if we can. We're going to get Freddie Coleman back on, do some shows.
Freddie just he hit me up on Twitter and said he'd absolutely love to come back on. So we'll bring Freddie back for everybody.
You know who we got to get my man Joel Embiid up on here. I'm so serious.
How you gonna get Joel on?
I'm gonna find a way to get Joel Embiid up on here.
We need
because he looks like he loves to talk.
Yeah. I'm working on a show I'd like to do. Just a little behind the scenes work still to do on that, but I want to talk about the AAU hoop scene today versus what it was like, basically early 2000s, late 90s. Basically, there's no work ethic in the kids these days. So we want to talk about,
please speak on that, because I do not like the state of
that. And for that one, I'll say it. I'm gonna try to get Moochie Norris and Tierra Brown to come on to talk about that one.
Yeah, we're
trying to get some guys. So I can remind him of when I crossed him over.
Come on, Byron. That's not what it's about. Come on.
But yeah, I mean, we're trying to take it mainstream. Does anybody else got anything they want to add? Anything they want to shout out?
Big shout out to Freddie Coleman for coming on.
Yeah, that's all.
Big ups
shout out to him.
Shout outs to Coleman, to Mr. Coleman, man, coming through, schooling us, fitting right in. It's a pleasure.
I second that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's Mike's skills. I hope Mike makes the R&B show.
Yeah,
who?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. By the way, I don't know if I'm gonna be on for that show because I don't know, but I need y'all to give me, and y'all don't have to be explicit about it, but I need y'all to give me like some stories of when y'all got the draws to some of these songs. Right? I need to know.
Hey,
we're
rolling into all that though. We got backstories to go with the songs.
Man,
you can't roll through 90s and early 2000s R&B without talking about, when you got something, when you didn't, all that shit.
You put on some damn Jodeci cry for you shit, and you can get it. Nah, you can't talk about that. You got to tell me that shit. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a given. So we do have a female viewer coming on, but she's gonna have to bring it too along with us. I'm not gonna throw her on the spot and say, I'm not gonna do that. But basically, I think with the multitude of the shows with the different genres, we're able to branch out. We want to get more female participants on the panel. So we're working towards that and trying to get different topics. So it's going to be a wild show Tuesday night. I think we're going to have a lot of female viewers in the chat room and that are watching because of Avion. He can blow. And if you don't know who he is, look him up on YouTube. Watch the one where he sings like Brian McKnight and has all those women melting in the office.
He's outstanding.
I mean,
He's outstanding.
Damn good. So, looking forward to that. Gonzo, you got anything you want to close out? I know you didn't get a chance to go because you were kind of in and out.
Oh no, like I said, shout out to y'all, man. Y'all doing a great job. Excellent.
Okay.
Close this out, Pete.
Just real quick, want to tell everybody closing it out. We now have the ability to add every show that we do. It won't be in video form, but it'll be in audio form up on iTunes, so you can download it, put it on your iPhone, listen to it on the way to work, whatever you want to do. That way we can get mainstream and get this thing rolling and bring better content for everybody. So until next week, appreciate everybody watching the show, and see you later.
Hey, Pete, one last thing. We're all going to go see Pete's Dragon and do a movie.
We're muting you. All right, we're out of here.